What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6mm Chapter 111, Being Filial, please customize, advertisement. Boom. The soaring green dragon roared angrily, stirring up the clouds and turning the sky gray. But the next moment, Xinglong's figure staggered, and then fell from the clouds, creating a huge deep pit and filling the air with flying dust. Several figures immediately jumped out of the huge skeleton building on Ghost Island. One of them turned into a pterosaur and soared into the air, instantly arriving at the location where Kaido fell. Boss Kaido. Standing on the edge of the pit, Jin was wrapped in an iron mask with only a pair of eyes exposed and shouted. Rhythmic snoring came from the bottom of the pit. At this time, Jin's cry was heard. Belch. Kaido burped, then climbed to the ground and sat cross-legged on the ground. Sober up. He raised his hand and shook his head with a gloomy expression on his face. At this time, the obese Quinn also came closer, his face full of horror. Boss Kaido. There are rumors in the outside world that we have got clues to the big secret treasure. Why don't we leave Wanokuni first? Tisk, apart from Whitebeard, is there anything in this sea that we are afraid of? Jin's only exposed eyes glanced sideways, his tone full of disdain. This contemptuous gesture made Quinn very unhappy. Then Odin used to be Roger's crew member. Although this 27 gang has disappeared, if you see the newspaper, I'm afraid you won't just sit idly by and ignore it. For today's plan, let's evacuate, Quinn yelled angrily. I have to say, even if I say it out of fear, there is some truth to this. Even Jin didn't refute, his eyes were shining brightly. He turned to stare at Kaido who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Go or stay. What the hell? Kaido's face was full of anger and he grinned. Since there are so many people who want clues to the big secret treasure, let them all come. Standing up, his rough face revealed a sinister smile. Find some people to go out and guide the guests in. It's okay if Roger doesn't come. We can still control the situation. Even if we come, wouldn't it be better? Anyone who wants a big secret treasure will naturally go to Luojian. Oh, Kaido took off the gourd from his waist, raised his head and took a few sips of strong wine, and said with a smile. We are on the Ghost Island, let's take a good look at this big show. After finishing speaking, he shook his burly and huge body and walked straight towards the skeleton building. Faintly, you can still hear the cursing voice. That B************** D is so unlucky for targeting Laozi. Oh my god, Wanokuni, he's going to be messed up in the future. After hearing their admiral's words, Jin and Quinn looked at each other. However, the nervousness and anxiety they felt just now were infected by Kaido's coolness. No doubt, the admiral's method is the most suitable for Beast's pirates. After all, I have been working hard in Wanokuni for so long. The hard work and time you put in cannot just go away. Aha! It's amazing that someone can anger Daddy. Outside the skeleton building, a small figure jumped out from the grass. She looked at Kaido's back, her little face looking thoughtful. Advertisement, is there really anyone in this world who can make Dad suffer? I really want to meet such a powerful person. With a small body and a small fist, his face was very excited. New world, a certain sea area. A huge pirate ship like a white whale sailed against the wind and waves. Dad, something happened. The pineapple-headed Marco glanced at the new newspaper and couldn't help but exclaim. He turned to the burly giant sitting on the throne in the center of the deck. Gu la la la, what big thing can compare with Roger's influence? Whitebeard put down the barrel and grinned. After experiencing the days when Roger became the Pirate King, he has become somewhat immune to so-called major events. Therefore, Marco's words were naturally not taken to heart. But the next moment, one after another, the crew members looked at the newspapers and exclaimed. It's about Brother Odin. What, is it His Highness Odin? Damn Kaido, how dare you offend Wanokuni? Many crew members all showed angry faces. At this time, hearing everyone mention Odin, the burly giant sitting on the throne, his expression suddenly became solemn. He took the newspaper from his son next to him. Whitebeard took a few glances and his expression changed slightly. Only then did he realize the seriousness of the matter. Kaido, he gritted his teeth and spit out two words coldly, which contained a strong killing intent. The former trainee crew member actually caught his brother's attention. Dad, before Kaido has formed a stronghold, let's lead everyone to fight Wanokuni, right? Marco looked up at Whitebeard and yelled angrily. Kazuki Odin back then had great popularity on this ship. Naturally, everyone wants to help Kazuki Odin and his Wanokuni. Your Highness Odin, what kind of pressure are you under now? Yi Zhang gritted his teeth and growled. I can't wait to spread my wings immediately, fly to Wanokuni, and fight Kaido to the death. Pity. As a member of the pirate group, any decision can only be made by the captain. That is the will of everyone on board. Dad, if we don't take action, Odin. And Daozi, and Ashi, it's hard for him to fight Kaido alone. Many filial sons and grandsons spoke one after another. No doubt, if Whitebeard nods, everyone on the boat will definitely not hesitate. But it's a pity, facing the expectant eyes of everyone. Whitebeard frowned and finally shook his head, we can't go. Advertisement the words fell, including Marco, everyone was filled with horror and disbelief. A father who values love and justice. Unexpectedly, I didn't extend a helping hand to my former brother. This is so unexpected, however, no one questioned this. Because Dad must have his reasons for making this decision. Really? Whitebeard grinned and said in a deep voice. Since he chose to board Roger's ship, he must choose to trust his partners on the ship. We cannot break the rules for things like rescue. Hear this. Many filial sons and great-grandchildren feel a little better. However, some people are still worried. Dad, Roger has disappeared for several months. Before the son could finish speaking, Whitebeard waved his hand and interrupted directly, saying, no matter where Roger is, as long as he is alive, as long as he sees the news, he will definitely appear. Definitely. The tone is slightly aggravated. This is recognition from the enemy. Point 523. South Blue, Battleira Island, a European-style house yard. Roger, who had just been called the Pirate King by the world, was cleaning the weeds in the yard like an ordinary person. Crash, suddenly, newspapers like snowflakes fell from the sky. One of the newspapers happened to fall at Roger's feet. The eye-catching title caught his eye instantly. Roger's curly beard twitched, and his face became slightly ugly. Squeak, a girl with blonde curly hair panting in a loose dress, came out. In this regard, Rouge did not answer the question. Ha ha ha, yes. But Roger was stunned, his eyes full of entanglement and pain. The tone is full of understanding and gentleness. At this moment, her body was filled with the glory of motherhood. Roger was stunned, and a smile froze on his face. Behind the back, the door of the house opened. Then you go. After a while, he let out a heavy breath and said with a wry smile, he is my former partner, I can't just sit back and ignore this. When she noticed Roger's abnormality and the newspapers scattered on the yard, she immediately bent down to pick them up. Roger laughed, but the smile was a little forced, and said, this guy is very strong, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Don't worry, I will take care of myself and my children. Chen looked at Roger, her eyes were gentler than ever before, and she raised her hand to caress her slightly bulging belly. Before Roger could finish speaking, Rouge smiled lightly. Ju covered her mouth and exclaimed, surprise and uneasiness appeared on Madara's cheeks. Kazuki Oden? Isn't it your former crew member? Are you leaving? Chapter 112. Marine's highest combat power is not only Admiral, please customize. Advertisement Chapter 113. Who said the highest combat power is Admiral? At the same time, the news content of the World Economic Daily has caused an uproar in this sea. It even alarmed those in power in the world government. No doubt. As a country, Wanokuni produces 99% of the world's sea stone, and it is obviously inextricably linked to the big figures in the world government. Therefore, the best state for Wanokuni is to maintain the delicate relationship that has always existed. But now, the swarm of countless strong men from the sea will definitely cause an unimaginable disaster to Wanokuni. Da-da, the sound of heavy and powerful footsteps echoed from outside the door. Kong pushed the door open and walked in. He swept away his previous frustration and glanced at the five elders with high spirits. Isn't it because of Wanokuni's business in asking me to come here so urgently? The news from World Economic Daily spread. All the strong men on the sea fell into madness. Wanokuni became the focus of the world overnight. It has to be said that this change was not even anticipated by Marshal Kong. However, he is happy to see the results. HMPH, needless to say nonsense, Wanokuni became a target, which none of us expected. As a warrior nation that existed hundreds of years ago, it possesses powerful military force. But now, facing the invasion of powerful men from the sea, this country is becoming a stage for pirates to compete. We give you permission to operate Marine, however, in order to make a country's image decent, Marine cannot make a big show of it and can only send a warship. The five elders looked ugly, and they all said in a low voice. To this, Marshal Kong had already expected it, and immediately discussed the military action, then turned and left. Returning to Marineford, he immediately held a high-level meeting of Marine. At this time, the empty conference room was already overcrowded, and basically all the officers above Rear Admiral of the headquarters were in this room. Did something big happen again? The Marshal informed everyone urgently. Advertisement Crane Vice Admiral thought, you haven't found any trace of Roger, right? Zephyr guessed. Boom! There was a loud noise accompanied by the sound of the chair breaking. Garp stood up from the chair, slapped the table and shouted. What, if I really find that guy, I will not let him go this time. Stop dreaming. If we find clues about where Roger is hiding, the warship should have set off by now. Sengoku patted Garp on the shoulder, telling him not to get too excited. 20 minutes ago, all general-level officers in the headquarters were notified of the emergency meeting. No one knew beforehand the reason for the emergency meeting. However, emergency meetings are generally only held in the case of important actions or emergencies. So, in just 10 minutes, all high-level officers on call at Naval Headquarters gathered in this conference room. Including Marine Admiral Zephyr and Sengoku, they all put down their work and came here. Brother, what tasks do you think the Marshal has to hand over this time? Garp glanced at Chen, who was sitting next to him with his eyes closed and dozing off, and asked. Chen was woken up by Garp and said perfunctorily, it must be related to the pirate incident. I'm exhausted from working overtime these days. Don't disturb my sleep. Seeing Chen's impatient expression, Garp's face darkened and he resisted the urge to punch him. Just when everyone was speculating, the door to the conference room opened and a tall, strong man with a mohawk hairstyle walked into the hall. Seeing this man appear, the slightly noisy voices in the hall suddenly quieted down, and everyone's eyes fell on this man. Everyone is here. Kong glanced across the hall and asked just an ordinary question. except for the Marine Admiral and the elite Vice Admiral. Most of the officers felt their bodies sink. An indescribable pressure made them dare not look at this man. It seems that what he is facing is not a human being, but a savage beast with terrifying power. The 5 elders agreed to Marine's plan to conquer Wanokuni. After Kong sat down, he raised the corners of his mouth slightly and smiled lightly. As soon as these words came out, the already quiet conference room hall became even more silent, so quiet that even the sound of breathing could be heard clearly. After a brief silence, a burst of excited cheers suddenly erupted in the conference room, and everyone looked at Marshal Kong's position with excited eyes. Since the last proposal to conquer Wanokuni was rejected by the 5 elders, although everyone didn't say it, they were holding a breath in their hearts. After hearing the news brought by Kong, the stone that was weighing on everyone's hearts was finally removed. Don't be too happy yet. Kong raised his hand to signal everyone not to get excited, and then continued. Because of the subtle relationship between Wanokuni and the kingdoms on the sea and the holy places. Advertisement. Although the 5 elders agreed with Marine's action plan, Marine cannot use its highest combat power for this operation. Everyone's expressions changed slightly when they heard this, and the atmosphere in the conference room immediately became subtle. Garp, who had already rolled up his sleeves and was ready to take the initiative, heard the news, and a fanatical and excited smile froze on his face. What? The Marine's maximum combat power cannot be dispatched? Garp yelled in disbelief, almost spitting saliva on Kong's face in excitement. Kong retreated back, avoiding Garp's verbal attack, and explained. Although Wanokuni rarely interacts with the outside world, almost all the sea stones in the entire sea come from there. Just the sea stone business has established Wanokuni's important position in the world. Of course we can send troops to conquer this time, but we must also take into account the issue of face. So not only can Marine not dispatch the highest combat power, but it can only dispatch one warship. After hearing the news, Garp sat down on the newly moved chair like an eggplant beaten by frost, with an expression as if this matter had nothing to do with me. Marine has the highest combat power, and the person holding this title has always been Marine Admiral. In other words, Marine Admiral cannot participate in this operation. Marshal, the 5 elders are just deliberately making things difficult, Sengoku said angrily. Good. Now all the pirates in the sea know the clues that Wanokuni hides a great secret treasure, and all the top pirates are gathering towards Wanokuni. In this case, if the Marine Admiral does not participate in the operation, good thing, and only sends one warship. Not to mention conquering Wanokuni, if you encounter a pirate group of big pirate level, self-protection will be a problem. Crane Vice Admiral also echoed. To this, Marshal Kong smiled and said nothing. However, he tilted his head slightly and his eyes fell on the young man below. This moment, the conference room suddenly became dead silent. Everyone who felt aggrieved just now opened their eyes wide and their spirits immediately cheered up. Since Marine Admiral cannot be allowed to go, we. Having said this, Marshal Kong smiled slightly, stared at Lu Chen and said, we can only send Lu Chen out. The words fell. Everyone in the conference room suddenly realized. Yes. Who else is more suitable to carry out this mission than the legendary hero in front of me? Chapter 113. Heaven's punishment comes. Jin P's in fright, please customize. Advertisement. Oh, this kind of troublesome thing is really a headache. Lu Chen rubbed his forehead and said helplessly. Although his tone sounded helpless, the smile on the corner of this guy's mouth carried a creepy and dangerous aura. Lu Chen, you will lead the team on this mission. As for the other candidates, Sakazuki, Perusalino and Kuzan are all good young guys. Kong glanced at the many officers, then smiled and said to Lu Chen, you can choose the rest yourself. In that case, I won't be polite. Lu Chen turned to look at everyone. Feeling Lu Chen's gaze, all Marine officers involuntarily straightened their backs and looked serious about accepting the review. Who wants to miss an opportunity to fight alongside the strongest Marine? Katakori, Gion and Crocodile, you 3 should come too. Hearing this, the 3 of them immediately stood up from their seats excitedly and met Lu Chen's gentle gaze. Katakori clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart, it's great to be able to go to sea with the teacher. I will definitely live up to the teacher's expectations. Master Lu Chen, I will definitely work hard. Gion put on a small face and made a very serious promise. The person to perform the task has been determined, and this meeting ends here. Time is urgent, you should set off now, Kong ordered. Kong led everyone all the way to the headquarters port to see off Marine for this operation. After all, this mission is very difficult. Not only are Wanokuni's samurai obstructing it, but they will also encounter many powerful pirate groups 307. Everyone didn't wait long. A battleship with a special shape appeared in sight. This battleship has no masts and sails, but has 2 more gun turrets. On the deck at the stern is a very conspicuous square box more than 2 meters high. Overall, the usable space of this warship is 1/3 more than that of a normal warship. This is a warship specially built by Vegapunk for Lu Chen. Not only is the bottom inlaid with sea stone, but it has also been carefully improved and the entire ship is powered by electricity. Both speed and practicality are far superior to ordinary warships. This warship looks so majestic and much more spacious than our warships, Sengoku said. Brother, what's this new thing of yours? It looks pretty powerful. Garp rubbed his palms and said with some covetousness. It's just a slightly improved warship with more firepower, faster speed, and more usable space. Other than that, it has no other advantages, Lu Chen said with a smile. Everyone looked at the young Vice Admiral speechlessly. Are you sure this is just a slight improvement? As Lu Chen boarded the warship, the young officers and thousands of marines behind him also boarded the ship one after another. In the envious eyes of everyone, the warship quickly sailed towards the sea outside the port. 10 days later. New World Sea Area. The warship with a sci-fi appearance broke through the sea and sailed quickly on the calm sea. The marine soldiers on the deck carefully guarded their posts. After 10 days of continuous sailing day and night, the warship has entered the Wanokuni waters, CHBD. In almost half a day, you can set foot on Wanokuni's territory. Gion and others on the deck were also looking expectantly at the sea level in the distance, as the long-awaited moment was about to arrive. Advertisement just when everyone was looking forward to it, a cold sea breeze blew in their faces. They were shocked to find that a huge Uzumaki suddenly appeared on the sea 10 miles away. Something's wrong. The sea current is obviously speeding up. Katakori was the first to notice something was wrong. Look at the sea area ahead, the current is completely chaotic. Kuzan reminded, pointing to the sea area ahead. On the sea in the distance, giant pillars break through the sea, and towering peaks reach into the sky. Gloomy black clouds oppressed the sea surface, a 1,000-meter vortex set off huge waves of hundreds of feet, and the icy wind was like a sharp blade, constantly cutting every sailor approaching this sea area. This seems to be the doomsday zone at the end of the world. This is a restricted area for ships. Any ship that enters this sea area will only end up being shattered into pieces. No wonder Wanokuni and the outside world are so mysterious. Ordinary ships cannot pass through this restricted area, Gion said solemnly. There are other ships approaching, they should be pirate ships. Sakazuki looked at the ships approaching the sea area not far away with burning eyes. There is more than one pirate ship, because the news of the secret treasure is enough to send the entire sea into a frenzy. In just a short moment, hundreds of pirate ships appeared on the sea. Click. Right now. In the captain's room, bursts of pale electric light were shining. In an instant, everyone felt that the warship under their feet suddenly accelerated and rushed towards the turbulent area at twice the speed as before. Upon noticing this situation, everyone's expressions change. Once this speed encounters turbulence, the ship will inevitably be destroyed and everyone will die. That's crazy. Crocodile yelled crazily. At the same time, the ship had entered the turbulent waters, and the imagined capsizing of the warship did not occur. Instead, because of its tyrannical and savage speed, it directly broke through the obstacles of numerous huge waves and smoothly accelerated along the edge of the vortex, approaching the hazy island hidden in the mist in the distance. But other ships were not so lucky. Those pirate ships without enough power were swallowed by the vortex. Some of them were torn into pieces by the terrifying turbulence before they even entered the vortex, and the pirates on board were dragged into the depths of the vortex by the heavy water. This sight made all the marines on the warship feel palpitations, even Katakori and others from Rear Admiral broke into a cold sweat. Passing through the turbulent sea with dense whirlpools, a towering cliff soon appeared in sight, and the deafening sound of the waterfall came. An astonishingly wide waterfall dropped from the cliff, split into two sections, and surged into the sea around the island. Wanokuni is the inland sea above the waterfall. However, the beast's pirates patrolling in the air also discovered the warship at the same time. It's marine. There's only one warship. A warship dares to come here. This captain is really a fool. This is a good opportunity. Master Jin will definitely reward us if we kill these marines. Do you want to report it to the adults? Are you bothering your excellency with such a small matter? It won't be too late to report it to your majesty after these marines are dealt with. The voice fell. Dozens of pirates rode into the sky on birds, relying on air superiority to attack the warship. It's the pirate sentinel. At some unknown time, Lu Chen appeared on the deck of the warship. He looked calmly at the air-riding pirates rushing in front of him, and smiled lightly at Katakori and the others. These miscellaneous fish just give you a chance to exercise. It is rare to see such sandbags delivered to your door. Advertisement. Several people immediately understood what Lu Chen meant. Sakazuki was the first to bear the brunt. He jumped up from the deck and instantly shot out a ball of blazing magma with his fist. The others were not far behind. Katakori stood on the spot, but his arms quickly stretched and elongated, blasting away the two pirates who tried to approach. The sea surface froze and icebergs rose from the ground. The light shines, and countless light bombs cover the sky. Sword chi splitting void, yellow sand covers the sea. The offensives of Gion and Crocodile were equally sharp and fierce. In just a moment, the pirate air cavalry that rushed near the warship were wiped out by a few people. Ghost Island. The surveillance room of Beast's headquarters. The phone rang suddenly, and a tall figure sitting on the animal skin chair answered the phone. Sir, something bad has happened. We are under attack. The voice on the other side of the phone was particularly frightened. Kindness? Hearing the words, this man's whole body was covered in a black suit, and his face was also covered by a black mask. Only a pair of eyes were exposed, shining with a cold light. Which pirate group is it? Laozi will kill him now. Jin asked calmly. The tone was filled with endless killing intent. It's not a pirate, it's a marine, cried the telephone bug. Marine? A hole. On the screen. A warship full of science fiction is parked under the waterfall. Various fruit abilities such as flame ice blades, light and yellow sand are continuously shot from the warship, killing the pirate cavalry. This is heavenly punishment. Very good. Jin's eyes swept across the several people on the screen, and finally stopped on the figure at the bow of the ship. Looking at the other person's calm smile, his eyes suddenly widened. Jin's voice was trembling and he growled uneasily at the phone bug. Jin's eyes narrowed slightly. Unexpectedly, it was Marine who appeared this time. On the deck of the warship, a young figure stood with his hands behind his back, and behind him were young marines with different faces. Looking at the familiar face on the screen, Jin's whole body seemed to sink into hell, and an indescribable feeling of fear welled up in his heart. Jin just thought of this, and also attacked their men. How did you provoke that monster? A clear picture fragment was transmitted from the surveillance screen. To know. In order to divert the beast's pirates from becoming the focus, the people they sent out to patrol would deliberately guide the pirates who came after the big secret treasure to land in Wanokuni. No matter who dares to offend beast's pirates, he must be prepared to die. He expected various big pirates, but he didn't expect it to be marine. Chapter 114. Roger. I came just in time, please customize. Advertisement for Lu Chen and his team. The pirate air cavalry on the island waterfall is just a piece of cake. Easily dealing with these pirate sentries blocking the way, the warship sailed upstream towards the waterfall at full speed. At the same time, in the inner waters of Wanokuni, pirate ships flying different flags galloped across the sea, all heading towards Giuli. It can be seen that a considerable number of pirates have landed on the coastline not far away. Damn it. Why can't I kill all these D pirates? Kinemon roared loudly, raised his hand and released a sword energy to cut off a pirate ship near the inner coast. After receiving the news that pirates gathered in Kuri, the 9 red scabbards all dispatched to stop the pirates from invading Wanokuni. As one of the 9 red scabbards, although Kinemon looks very unreliable, his own strength is not weak. On the contrary, his strength ranks relatively high among the 9 heroes. Flower Shuriken. Raizo threw out shurikens all over the sky, severely injuring several pirates who were trying to attack Kinemon. Hey, there are too many of these pirates. Moreover, the number of pirates is increasing, and the battle is becoming more and more unfavorable to us, Denjiro said. Before the words fell, a huge mace fell from the sky and hit Denjiro on the head with great force. Get that coward Kazuki Oden out. Handing over the clues to the great secret treasure would make him die happily. A burly pirate captain shouted and waved his mace, trying to kill Denjiro who was blocking his progress. If you dare to insult the general, I will now execute the death penalty on you in the name of the general's bodyguard. A cold voice sounded, and a tall figure wearing a goose-yellow samurai uniform suddenly appeared above the pirate captain. The cold sword light shines, exuding a killing intent that makes people feel chilled all over. The pirate captain's eyes widened, and the next second the sword flashed and the corpses separated in the air. But this did not stop the crazy pirates. There were still a steady stream of pirates rushing to the shore at sea, which greatly increased the pressure on the 9 heroes. General, there are too many pirates gathered on the Giuli coast, and the 9 red scabbards can't support it anymore. A panicked voice came from the Kalkonk. Can't even Kinemon and the others resist these bastards? Kazuki Oden's heart sank when he heard the report from his samurai. Unexpectedly, these pirates were so ferocious that even powerful samurai like the 9 red scabbards could not completely block them. Moreover, these pirates asked the general to hand over some great secret treasure. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Konk continued to speak. I see. Advertisement. They came here for clues about the great secret treasure. These pirates are really sensitive to information. Kazuki Oden frowned and said to himself. When he looked at his wife Tianue beside him, Momonosuke and daughter Hiyori were trembling in her arms. During the call just now, the screams and fighting sounds were not hidden from the ears of the 2 children. This sudden battle not only left Kazuki Oden defenseless, but the menacing pirates also made Kazuki Oden's wife and daughter feel frightened and nervous. Tianueshi looked at her husband worriedly and said, Is there really no problem? Don't worry, it's just some pirates. The warriors of Wanokuni are not so easily defeated, but as an admiral army, I can't sit at the back. Kazuki Oden laughed and said comfortingly. Why did these pirates suddenly learn about the big secret treasure? Could it be that Kaido guy was behind it? Kazuki Oden thought as he rushed towards the inner coast. If anyone knows his true identity, Kaido is undoubtedly one of them, and he is the most likely force to use this matter to take action against him. When Kazuki Oden came to the coast, at first glance, Wanokuna's samurai were almost drowned in the crowd of pirates. No wonder the 9 red scabbard heroes can't hold on. Even the great swordsman here probably won't be able to withstand the siege of thousands of pirates. Kazuki Oden is there, capture him and ask for information about the great secret treasure. Don't let him get away, the big secret treasure is mine. The pirates swarmed in, and the defense line of Kinemon and others did not last long before they were broken up by the pirates. Offensive. Kazuki Oden shouted, holding swords in both hands and displaying a sword energy at the same time. The sword energy condensed into a cross and swept across the battlefield. In an instant, the pirate who was at the front was hit by the sword energy, and blood spattered, Zhongyang separated. It's the admiral army who took action. Protect General Oden and don't let these pirates succeed. When Kinemon and others saw Kazuki Oden taking action, they also used all their strength to fight the pirates while rushing towards Kazuki Oden's position. When the warriors of Wanokuni saw the admiral army's courage in annihilating hundreds of pirates with one sword, they were inspired to fight high. But the high meaning cannot improve the combat power of these warriors. Although they try their best, they still cannot stop the steady stream of pirates. As a last resort, they could only shrink the defense line and retreat towards the castle of the Kazuki Oden family. Please give me flowers. It wasn't until the defense line shrank to the outside of the Oden family castle that the pirates' offensive was barely resisted thanks to the favorable terrain. Despite this, being surrounded by thousands of pirates, it was only a matter of time before they fell. Advertisement, General, take your wife and leave through the back door. We will stop these bastards, Kinemon said. Don't worry, she and the children have been settled. As a general, I will not become a deserter, Kazuki Oden said with firm eyes. He originally thought that these pirates were bewitched by Kaido and were plotting to defeat the Kazuki family. But the fact was somewhat beyond his expectation. In the battle just now, he had learned that these pirates did not get the news about the big secret treasure from Kaido. Even the flower city where Kurozumi is located is overwhelmed by pirates. General, we can't support it outside, Kikuchi Cheng said urgently. Seeing that the defense line was about to collapse, when the pirates rushed into the castle, a terrifying aura suddenly descended. Boom! The extremely huge sword energy suddenly fell, dust and mist filled the air, sand and gravel rose into the sky, and a crack hundreds of meters long buried the group of pirates at the front. The smoke dispersed, and a tall figure wearing a red coat came into view. Aha, Brother Oden, it seems I came just in time. Marked by a smile, and a curly black beard, absolutely. Roger, known to the world as the Pirate King. Kazuki Oden's pupils widened, his face became uncontrollably excited, and a familiar voice made his body fight. Brother Roger. Kazuki Oden shouted excitedly, tears streaming from the corners of his eyes. The man who suddenly appeared was Roger, the legendary pirate known as the Pirate King. Roger, he is actually the Pirate King Roger. The legendary pirate who traveled all over the world, a strong man who even Marine was helpless against. The aura he exudes is so terrifying, he is simply a monster. Roger's appearance shocked all the pirates. Whether it was the title of Pirate King or the powerful strength displayed by his sword, the pirates did not dare to act rashly. This is the power of the Pirate King, even if their target is originally the Pirate King. But when they actually appeared, these pirates from all over the world were stunned for a moment. Chapter 115. The shadow that dominated Kaido's fear back then, please customize. Advertisement. Looking at the moonlight, Oden cried with joy and was very excited. This was the first time for the Red Scabbard 9 heroes to see Lord Oden like this. Is this the legendary big pirate? The name Oden-sama always talks about is the man called the Pirate King. He looks very strong, but I don't know who is stronger, him or Lord Moonlight Oden. Kinemon and others' understanding of Roger basically comes from Moonlight Oden. Every time he mentioned the captain, he was full of praise, and he talked about Captain Roger almost all the time. But when they first saw this legendary figure, they still felt a little uncomfortable. Roger looked at Kinemon and others behind Moonlight Oden, and took the initiative to say hello with a smile. You are Oden's retainers, you all look pretty good. But now is not the time to reminisce about the past. Roger snorted coldly, and used the Western Sword Eye, 347, in his hand to slash behind him in an instant, slashing away a pirate who wanted to make a sneak attack. Everyone, rush, because the secret of the treasure is hidden in these two people. So what about the Pirate King? There are so many of us, so what are we afraid of? Kill Roger, the big secret treasure belongs to us, the little ones, give it to me. After a brief shock, the pirates realized that the only reinforcement was Roger. Under the temptation of wealth, even the legendary pirates cannot completely deter the already crazy pirates. Facing the fearless pirates, the two masters Roger and Moonlight Oden were unable to repel them all. Moreover, there are still pirate ships on the inland sea constantly hitting the coast, rushing towards the castle. In such a battle, even the most powerful person will be consumed by the human sea tactics. What is unexpected is that while countless pirates are rushing towards the Moonlight family castle, a pirate ship sailing in the inland sea is constantly attacking the surrounding pirates. Wherever they passed, pirate ships were cut in half by the powerful sword energy. Even the pirates who were not weak in strength were easily defeated by the members on the ship when they tried to block it. It's true that the captain actually came here alone first. As the ship approached the coast, a red-haired boy jumped from the bow. Don't waste time, get rid of these eyesores first. The man with blonde hair and a trace of white hair, wearing glasses and with a scar on his right eye, said. The members on the boat responded in agreement and picked up their weapons to kill the surrounding pirates. Their number is less than 1,000th of other pirates, but this seemingly inconspicuous ship of pirates is actually a powerful master. Advertisement. In just the blink of an eye, no more ships could land on the coast. Ha ha ha, it's that guy Rayleigh, he's here too. When Roger saw the situation on the coast in the distance, he looked startled, then laughed heartily and said. Ah, it's been a long time coming. I didn't expect to be able to fight side by side with everyone again so soon. Moonlight Oden's face was full of excitement, as if he had returned to his past days in the pirate group. The unexpected appearance of members of Roger's pirate group surprised all the pirates. Roger and Rayleigh attacked from both sides, and the pirates who besieged the Moonlight family ended up being swept away. In less than half an hour, all the pirates who landed were wiped out. Some pirates who didn't see this opportunity returned to the sea early and chose to retreat temporarily. The pirates who attempted to land temporarily gave up the idea of siege. In front of a great swordsman like Rayleigh, no ship can approach the coast. Although these pirates temporarily retreated, they did not give up completely and just stopped on the sea a few miles away. They are waiting for the opportunity. As long as the Roger pirates relax for a moment, they will launch a crazy attack again. And this time, Beast's Pirates headquarters. After hearing the information about Marine's attack, Jin was filled with fear and uneasiness. Especially when he thought of that man's face, a chill that penetrated into his bones filled his body, making him shiver. Master Kaido must be told as soon as possible. Jin knew that this matter had reached an urgent level. Before he could go to report, the phone rang again. Hey, what did you do? Let the Roger Pirates enter Wanokuni, Orochi's angry voice sounded in Jin's ears. Roger Pirates, Jin's pupils shrank, and then he heard the angry roar of the big snake again. Who do you think you were talking to? Jin's voice was filled with cold murderous intent. If it weren't for the fact that this snake was still useful, he would have killed this guy who dared to yell at him right now. Oh, I'm sorry, I was just too excited. Orochi's attitude changed instantly and he kept apologizing. You also know the relationship between me and the Moonlight family. Now that the Roger Pirates appear in Wanokuni, if Moonlight Odin uses the power of the pirates, I can't resist it. You don't want to lose an ally like me, right? Orochi said. Advertisement. There was a hint of disdain in Jin's eyes, and he said perfunctorily, okay, I will report this matter to Lord Kaido. After ending the call, he walked out of the cave, and a pair of black wings suddenly spread out from behind. The black wings flapped, and Jin rose into the sky, flying quickly towards a cave deep in the Ghost Island. Two important news need to be reported. Jin came to this wide cave and saw Kaido, who was carrying a wine jar and drinking with hazy eyes. Something important? Kaido asked while drinking. Roger entered Wanokuni and helped Moonlight Odin repel the invading pirates, Jin reported. Aha! Is this guy Roger actually here at Wanokuni? Kaido's eyes widened, and then he burst into laughter. First, didn't expect Marine to get involved. It's just a warship, it makes you afraid like this. Kaido roared angrily and instantly transformed into a dragon form and rushed out of the cave. The cousin on Jin's face became very solemn, and he said with some anxiety, the sentry discovered a marine warship heading towards Giuli from the island waterfall. This scene is getting better and better. I'm looking forward to what he will do. Kaido had a playful look in his eyes. This matter may be more serious than Roger's matter. A fat man with black eyes and 4.0 black and white striped overalls came from outside the cave. His height is similar to Jin, and he is officially one of the three plagues. The wine jar in Kaido's hand shattered, his palms trembled, his pupils shrank, and his bloodshot eyeballs shot out a crazy and terrifying look. Hearing this, Kaido didn't wait for him to speak. But there are many outstanding young Marines on that ship, and there are at least 2 Rear Admiral level Marine supernovas. Another cunning voice suddenly came from behind. It's just a warship, don't worry about it, Kaido said nonchalantly. The shadow of fear that dominated him back then, he wants to regain all the dignity he once lost today. Lu Chen, I will never let him go this time. Jin, your courage is getting weaker and weaker. And Jin raised his head and glanced at Kaido, then continued, Vice Admiral of Heavenly Punishment, Lu Chen is also on this ship. Click. By the way, didn't you say there is one more thing? Kaido asked. Chapter 116. A super electromagnetic gun that penetrates the soul, please customize. Advertisement. Jin, Quinn, and the surrounding pirate group members looked at the empty cave. When they came to their senses, they realized something was wrong. After the Valley of Gods incident, Kaido remained autistic for quite some time. The source of that fear is naturally the legendary marine hero Lu Chen. Because of Lu Chen's pressure, Kaido-sama will continue to grow stronger and has become one of the most powerful pirates today. His biggest wish is to defeat Lu Chen head-on and regain the dignity he lost. Jin looked at the dragon soaring in the sky and said seriously. Now is not the time to talk about such things, Quinn exclaimed, hopping on her feet. Hurry up and gather 1,000 pirate members. We are going to support Boss Kaido. We must not let anything happen to the boss. Jin ordered decisively. He is well aware of the terror of Lu Chen, a figure who dares to confront the Rock's pirate head-on. Even the most powerful legendary pirates like Roger and Whitebeard have to retreat when encountering Lu Chen. Not enough. Notify everyone in the pirate group immediately and set off for Curry immediately to support Lord Kaido. Quinn picked up the phone bug and directly informed the entire pirate group. Facing a terrifying monster like Lu Chen, it would take at least the strength of the 27th Pirate Regiment. Onigashima instantly entered a state of emergency, and all the pirates quickly boarded the pirate ship and set off in the direction of Curry. When the pirate ship set off, no one noticed that on a certain pirate ship, a little girl with white hair and 2 horns was quietly hiding in the corner of the cabin. Her big round eyes looked around with a hint of curiosity. I heard that the marine warship came to Wanokuni. The marine vice admiral known as Heavenly Punishment is also on board. I'm really curious about what this marine who can scare dad looks like. The little girl muttered to herself. Those big eyes are full of curiosity. And this time in Giuli, although the Roger pirates repelled the invading pirates. But these pirates did not retreat. Instead, it completely surrounds the entire Giuli coastline. In this way, even if they cannot reach the coast, the Roger pirates will not be able to leave. Moreover, the pirates used the cannons on the ship to continuously attack the Roger pirates on the coast. The pirates who had not yet retreated got into a fight with Rayleigh and others. However, compared to the previous situation of being surrounded by a sea of people, it seems to be much better. Rayleigh, you be *********. Advertisement. Roger roared angrily, used his fists to knock away several people who came up to him, and then ran towards where Rayleigh and others were. Oh, no need to thank me, this is what I should do. Rayleigh looked at the angry Roger with a rude expression on his face. Who wants to thank you? You and Jabba, you 2 bastards, you must be the ones who called everyone here. I'm the captain, and this kind of thing doesn't happen without my permission. Roger roared at the top of his lungs. Seeing Roger blowing his beard and staring in anger, Rayleigh didn't take it seriously. Others were used to Roger's attitude and didn't take it to heart. When Jabba saw this, he laughed and waved his axe, and chopped down 2 pirate ships trying to approach the coast. Then he jumped to Roger and said with a smile, "Captain, this kind of fighting is not called a fight, it's really sad." Following Moonlight Odin came the Red Scabbard 9, and they were very moved when they saw the members of the Roger Pirates blaming each other. They may seem to be blaming each other, but these pirates have a friendship as deep as the ocean. Perhaps, this is why Lord Odin became one of them. What do you think that is?" Suddenly, Shanks, who was wearing a straw hat, exclaimed. He suddenly pointed to the depths of the sea, looking very surprised. Hear the words. Everyone looked in the direction. Next moment, including Roger, a look of shock appeared on everyone's faces. Deep in the sea, at this moment, the electric light shines. Under the sea shrouded in clouds, there seems to be some extremely terrifying force brewing. Suddenly, a dazzling light broke through the darkness, and a ball of light surrounded by thunder broke through the waves and landed precisely on the area with the densest concentration of pirate ships. Boom! After a brief silence, a thunderous explosion suddenly sounded, and the seawater suddenly sank several meters, and then violently set off huge waves. Dozens of pirate ships at the center of the explosion were instantly shattered. The pirates on board were vaporized by the violent current and terrifying temperature before they even had time to scream. Not only the pirate ship on the sea, but also the shock wave released by the explosion directly destroyed half of the 9-mile beach. The power was so terrifying that it was simply terrifying. The entire Giuli could clearly feel the terrifying shock caused by the explosion, which was like an earthquake. Everyone in Roger's pirate group had expressions of shock and astonishment. Advertisement. Many pirates on the sea also looked frightened, looking uneasily towards the depths of the sea. In the depths of the sea, a warship broke through the waves, broke away from the turbulent Uzumaki, and quickly headed towards the Curry coast. Marine? The pirates looked at the approaching warship in disbelief, and were shocked the Marine would arrive at this time. Is there only one warship? The commander of this warship is so courageous? But then again, the vitality of this warship seems a bit fierce. The redhead said with emotion. As the warship got closer, the pirates also saw clearly the face of Marine on the deck of the warship. They are all famous young Marine, Sakazuki, Kuzan, Katakori, Crocodile, etc. That guy isn't. After a pirate captain saw clearly the face of the young Marine standing at the front of the warship, his horrified eyes almost bulged out of his sockets. 710 inches Lu Chen. It's heaven's punishment Vice Admiral, Lu Chen. His voice became shrill because of excessive panic. Everyone in Roger's pirate group also noticed that Lu Chen's expressions on the warship changed drastically, and Roger's expression became very ugly. Why did you get this change? The red-haired man took a breath of cold air, his slightly childish face full of shock. On the warship. Wow, the power of the shot just now was so powerful, it almost scared people. Guillaume exclaimed, covering his mouth. Katakori and the others, Marine, were also dumbfounded as they stared at the destroyed coastline in the distance. It took a long time to suppress their shock. This is the electromagnetic gun that Mr. Lu Chen was talking about. It's really terrifying in power. Perusalino leaned against the side of the ship, looking shocked. A super electromagnetic gun that penetrates the soul, the effect is amazing. Lu Chen looked at the densely packed pirate ships on the distant sea. He roughly estimated that there were at least 100 ships and the number of pirates must be at least several thousand. And the Marines he brought this time only had 1,000 people. In this case, let alone arrests, even if they were all captured, the warship would not be able to fit in them. Lu Chen has a headache. It seems that the so-called secret arrest can no longer be kept secret. Certainly, this situation has been anticipated for a long time. Sakazuki, please clean up these trash fish. Lu Chen waved his hand and said to several young Marines. Chapter 117. Marine's Future, the highest combat power, please customize. Advertisement. Hearing the words, Sakazuki's eyes were instantly filled with fierce fighting spirit. With his character that hated pirates so much, he undoubtedly loved fighting pirates the most. Katakori and the others are also gearing up. This is a mission they will perform together with Master Lu Chen, and they are mentally prepared to go all out. At least, Mr. Lu Chen should not be disappointed. The first one to take action was not Sakazuki, who was at the front, but Kuzan, who jumped from the deck and fell towards the sea. It looked like he was going to jump into the sea if he didn't drive. This scene also aroused doubts and exclamations from everyone. What does that Marine want to do? Jumping into the sea? It's not like he was frightened when he saw so many of us, it's really embarrassing. With such idiot subordinates, it seems that the legendary Marine is not that scary. Kuzan's sudden fall into the sea seemed to give the pirates some confidence to resist. But the next second, the moment Kuzan came into contact with the sea, a pale color spread quickly and spread out in an instant. At this moment, the sea surface solidified, the waves froze, and the temperature of the sea surface dropped sharply at an alarming rate. By the time the pirates reacted, all the pirate ships moored on the sea had been frozen by the ice. If you look down from midair, you will find that the Giuli coastline has completely turned into a white dragon. In just a short moment, Lien Zan actually blocked the entire sea surface of thousands of meters near Giuli. How is that possible? Is this something a Marine Rear Admiral can do? It's just ice, let me smash your ice, a very strong-looking old pirate shouted loudly, raised his giant axe and smashed it towards the sea. But before the giant axe in his hand fell, a red fire suddenly shone in the direction of the warship. Great eruption, with a violent roar. After Kuzan, Sakazuki also took action decisively. His whole body was covered in flames, his arms turned into huge lava fists made of lava, and then he fired hundreds of lava fists instantly. The fists of lava shot towards the sea below, like meteors falling, but this red meteor contained power that ordinary people could not imagine. Continuous roars and explosions impacted the eardrums, shattering the frozen ice of the ship under the huge fist of flames, and the waves broke out of the sea again. At the same time, there were countless pirate ships fixed on the sea that were broken, as well as pirates on board who had not had time to escape.
Oh, they are really two powerful guys. Advertisement.
For the remaining pirates, let me give you a ride. Perusolino's tone was lazy, but he showed no mercy at all. Countless golden rays of light separated from his body and turned into light rain all over the sky, falling continuously. Each light group will cause a violent explosion after touching an object. The light rain almost covered the entire sea surface. In an instant, some pirates who were lucky enough to escape to the edge of the coast were seriously injured by Perusolino's methods. Huh. Kuzan raised his head and exhaled softly. Two ice spears appeared out of thin air in his palm and suddenly threw them towards the pirate ship. Click. The moment the ice spear penetrated the pirate ship, the entire ship was covered with a layer of transparent ice crystals, and the pirates on the ship solidified into ice sculptures. These three guys are simply monsters. They don't give us a chance to take action. Crocodile stared at the sea where fire and icebergs existed at the same time and said. Katakori, the strongest among the three, had a solemn expression. Even he felt great pressure from the strength displayed by Kuzan and the other three. No wonder Mr. Chen said that the three of them will be the strongest pillars of marine in the future. This kind of terrifying talent and ability is really frightening. Guillaume curled his lips in depression, and his beautiful nose wrinkled up. The marine soldiers on the warship all stared, their jaws almost hitting their insteps.
This was the first time they saw the rumored marine monster take action. Even if it was just a marine rear admiral, it was no worse than any vice admiral.
Oh, except for the vice admiral standing at the bow. Even the vice admiral can't be stronger than this, right? Except for Chen vice admiral, there should be no vice admiral more powerful than these three monsters. As expected of Marine's strongest monster, it's truly terrifying in combat. There is no need for them to take action in this one-sided battle. The three of Sakazuki can handle it completely. They even suspected that even if only one person took action, this battle might not be resolved.
It's not that they are stronger than the Roger Pirates, but the fruit abilities of the three are really suitable for the current group battle.
The battle did not last long. At the cost of thousands of pirates, most of the pirates finally escaped from the firebombing area of the three Sakazukis. Facing such a terrifying marine, the pirates no longer had any will to fight. They have not forgotten that there is a strong man on that ship who has never made a move and is regarded as the most terrifying strong man in marine legend.
Advertisement. The electric cabin should be almost fully charged.
Chen recalled Sakazuki and others who were still unfinished, and issued the landing order. Under the leadership of Chen, Marines set out towards the deepest castle in Giuli. Not much. 1,000 soldiers guarded the warship. Chen, on the other hand, landed with Sakazuki, Perusolino, Kuzan, Katakori, Crocodile and Momosagi. Target. It is the Kazuki mansion in Guri town. Although the number of people was small, the sense of oppression it brought to everyone was unprecedented. Shanks said unconvinced. I'm no worse than these Marines, Wang Li Jiao. At this point, he seemed to remember something, and added, at least he will not be worse than those three young Marines, and he will defeat them sooner or later. At some point, the sky was shrouded in dark clouds, and the entire Wanokuni was covered in endless darkness. In the Kazuki mansion, everyone who felt this oppressive atmosphere felt like a stone was weighing on their hearts. Roger, the Red Scabbard 9, and their group have retreated to the mansion. They're just a bunch of monsters. As for the man who asked him to change his story, Shanks would feel a sense of fear coming from the depths of his soul even if he just thought of his face. Allah, don't underestimate young Marine, those little guys will be tough opponents in the future. When the warship appeared, they had already evacuated towards the Kazuki family castle. The biting wind was blowing through the forest, and the dark clouds seemed to be getting lower, as if the end was coming. Even though they are far away from the seaside, strong men like them can still clearly perceive what is happening on the coast. Roger said, his tone a little serious. On the mountain road far away from the Giuli coast, the Roger Pirates and others felt the shock of the seaside, and all of them had strange expressions on their faces. Is this the strong one among the young Marine generation? The Wanokuni warriors who saw Marine's power for the first time looked frightened, and their faces were all pale and bloodless. The arrival of Chen awakened the fears deep in the hearts of Roger, Rayleigh and others, and they couldn't help but recall their previous encounters with each other. Rayleigh said with a grin. The aura that hid him like a vast ocean had already surpassed most of the older Marines. Chapter 118. The King's qualifications shocked the audience, please customize. Advertisement. If you want to enter the Kazuki family's mansion, Bola Town is the place you must pass through. In the original work, this is the area ruled by Kaido's men. But now that Kaido has not teamed up with Orochi to get rid of the Kazuki family, this is naturally where the Kazuki family warriors are stationed. Lord Chen, there are traces of samurai activities in the town ahead, Katakori said. Although his perception has not yet reached the ultimate level, it is still very easy for his perception to cover the entire Bola town. Well, there seems to be a lot of people, there should be thousands of people, Chen said lightly. His knowledge, and color were infinitely better than Katakori's, so the situation in the town naturally couldn't be hidden from him. When everyone heard this, their expressions also changed. Sakazuki's eyes were filled with high fighting spirit. Although the opponent was Wanokuna's samurai, since they dared to block Marine's footsteps, he would not show any mercy. Kuzan had an indifferent expression, while Perusalino was very helpless. It seemed that this kind of cleaning up garbage work made him very troublesome. It seems that these guys are still determined to make a last-ditch effort. Crocodile said with a grin. As expected of Master Lu Chen, such a powerful observation haki. Even the number of enemies can be fully understood, which is simply terrifying, Katakori said with admiration and admiration. Led by Lu Chen, the marine team stepped onto the streets of 980 Bola town in unison. But after they entered the town, they found that the entire town was deserted, and there were no residents on the streets at all. Is there an ambush? Gion widened his eyes and looked left and right, trying to find any clues. Before the words fell, a loud shout came from above, and a warrior jumped from the roof of the street and launched a sneak attack towards Lu Chen at the front. A sneak attack is a sneak attack, but you have to shout to alert the enemy. Is it to reflect your warrior spirit? Lu Chen sneered. There was no need for him to take action at all. When the samurai launched a sneak attack, Katakori instantly appeared in front of the samurai. The halberd danced wildly, and a cold light passed over the warrior's neck. The two passed each other, and the samurai fell from the air, his head and body suddenly separated. At the same time, shouts of killing came from the empty streets, and countless samurai Wanokuni warriors wearing samurai uniforms rushed out of the buildings on both sides of the street. Advertisement. A rough estimate is that there are at least hundreds of these warriors. Moreover, from the streets and alleys in the distance, there was a steady stream of warriors coming towards their location. Kill these marines. Protect the Odin Admiral army. Damn marine, if you dare to invade Wanokuna's territory, watch Laozi chop you into pieces. If a mere marine dares to provoke Wanokuni, you will bear the wrath of Wanokuni warriors. In the town, warriors rushed out from all directions, surrounding Marine like a tide. They were carrying samurai swords, with fierce eyes and fierce expressions, and they rushed forward with an attitude of not fearing death. Seeing the Wanokuni warriors who were several times their own, Akainu and others looked a little nervous. Although they don't know the strength of the Wanokuni warriors, they already have the upper hand in terms of momentum. For a moment, Lu Chen and others were immediately surrounded by warriors from all directions. As a member of the Kazuki family, it is really embarrassing for them to protect us at this time. Kazuki Odin stood on the top of the mountain and said angrily through gritted teeth. It is indeed a country of samurai, every one of them is very big. Roger raised his hand and patted Odin's shoulder, grinning. He had dealt with Lu Chen more than once and knew the horror of that marine man. But at this time, the war is imminent, and the warriors are also very strong, so naturally they cannot lose to the opponent in terms of morale. Yes, it's enough to stop those little marine guys. Rayleigh said. And far away. Sakazuki saw these warriors and was about to take action when he saw someone move a step faster than him. Katakori walked to the front of the crowd, his calm eyes with a touch of disdain, scanning the approaching Wanokuni warriors. Get out of here! Katakori shouted loudly, and a powerful and domineering aura suddenly burst out from his body, as if red lightning swept across a dozen surrounding streets in an instant. The Wanokuni warriors enveloped by this terrifying aura fell into unconsciousness. In an instant, more than one-third of the warriors were stunned by this extremely domineering aura. CHBJ. The warrior who was not unconscious also felt a huge shock in his heart. The young marine officer in front seemed to be a terrifying giant beast. They looked at Katakori in horror, unable to understand what kind of move this terrifying aura was. Conqueror's Haki. Sakazuki looked at Katakori in surprise. Advertisement. There are countless strong marines who practice armament haki and observation haki, but marines who possess Conqueror's Haki are extremely rare. This kind of power, which is called the aptitude of a king, mostly appears in powerful pirates. It seems like something unexpected happened. The students recruited by Lu Chen are indeed not that easy to deal with. Roger said with an expression that was indeed true. I didn't expect that besides Lu Chen, there would be someone with the qualifications to be a king in marine. That guy Lu Chen is a monster, and he also cultivated a group of little monsters under his command. Rayleigh said with a headache. Katakori released Conqueror's Haki and killed a third of the samurai in an instant, making him the focus of the audience immediately. Whether it's Wanokuna's samurai or Sakazuki and other marines, all eyes are on Katakori. These warriors are all quite powerful masters. In the previous battle on the beach, his abilities were limited and he could only stare at the performance of the three Sakazukis. The yellow dragon rolled across the streets of the town, destroying the buildings on both sides of the streets. Not to be outdone, the three Sakazukis led Marine to launch a ferocious counterattack against the surrounding samurai. He looked at the battlefield around him and said to himself, no wonder Lord Lu Chen is very optimistic about this guy. It turns out he has such hidden power. Sakazuki thought to himself. Screams came one after another, and the warriors were caught off guard and severely injured by Crocodile's attack. Hundreds of warriors lost their fighting power. Crocodile, who was holding a cigar in his mouth and looking mad, took action with a look of displeasure on his face. =V=_=# Now that I finally have a chance to take action, I naturally want to show off my skills. The sword light flashed quickly, and the weapons of the samurai who passed by Gion were broken one after another, blood splattered on the vital parts of their bodies, and they fell to the ground. The ground kept shaking, and yellow sand kept gathering under the bricks, turning into tornadoes that would rush into the crowd of Wanokuni warriors. However, although Katakori's Haki shocked many samurai, there were still many samurai who did not fall unconscious under his conqueror's haki. In an instant, the battlefield fell into chaos, with only Lu Chen standing there with a leisurely attitude. If placed in the outside world, each of them would definitely be a combat cadre of every pirate group. I can lag behind. Guillaume chuckled, pulled out the sword from his waist, and instantly rushed into the crowd of samurai. Under the dim sky, a sandstorm suddenly appeared and quickly turned into a yellow dragon roll of 100 meters in size. Well, should a battle of this level be included in the assessment results? There are still obstacles, so let me deal with these guys. Chapter 119. One Piece surrenders to Marine, please customize. Advertisement. Even though Marine was at a huge numerical disadvantage, the combat effectiveness of the 6 Sakazukis was particularly amazing. Especially the 3 future Marine admirals, their fruit abilities are specially designed for group battles. Every move will inevitably cause a large-scale explosion. Almost no Wanokuni warrior can get close to the 3 people within 10 meters.
And Crocodile, no longer restrained, finally showed the power of sand fruit.
Except for the trio of ice, fire and light, his record is the best. Even Katakori is slightly behind. Wanokuna's warriors gradually realized that something was wrong, and their fearless attacks did not bring about the expected results. Not only did Marine not retreat, but it became more and more courageous as they fought. Especially the 6 young Marine officers at the forefront, they had the tendency of one man being in charge. These guys are simply not human. Stop, we can't continue fighting, these monsters can't be killed at all. These Marines are monsters. Such power is not something humans can possess. The warriors finally stopped, panic spreading in their hearts, and no one dared to challenge Marine's majesty. Well, are you finally done? Lu Chen yawned and lazily walked out of the crowd. He glanced at the shocked warriors not far away, and then looked far away, towards the mansion on the top of the mountain. At the same time, as if he had a tacit understanding, Roger's eyes looked towards Lu Chen invariably. 2 eyes, one calm and clear, the other unruly. But the moment the 2 sides' eyes met, there seemed to be a silent thunder exploding in the air, and everyone could feel a heavy pressure falling on them. Click! Black lightning erupted from Roger's body, like thunder coming from the sky, falling towards Lu Chen's location. The moment the black lightning arrived, an even more terrifying red thunder suddenly erupted from Lu Chen's body, like a sharp blade that reached the sky, slicing the black lightning away from it. At this moment, the color of the sky and the earth changed. The thick clouds were torn apart by the momentum of the 2 men, and a huge crack thousands of meters long appeared. Black and red lightning collided with each other, and a terrifying atmosphere enveloped the entire Bola town. Everyone's body trembled involuntarily under this terrifying aura. The powerful confrontation between the strongest Marine and the Pirate King caused the overpowered samurai to fall into coma. Only the 6 Sakazuki and a handful of samurai present were able to withstand the suppression of this momentum. As this conqueror's ultimate collision, Katakori resisted the urge to kneel down in worship and looked up at the tall figure on the top of the mountain in the distance. Advertisement, put away this boring trick. Lu Chen smiled lightly. Suddenly, an even more terrifying aura erupted from his body, and the red lightning formed by haki completely tore Roger's black haki into pieces. In this air-to-air confrontation, Lu Chen was obviously the better one. Seeing the war about to break out, suddenly, there was a sudden change in the sky, and a high-pitched roar of a dragon rolled through the clouds. Everyone looked up and saw a green dragon with a body several hundred meters long breaking through the dark clouds and falling from the sky. Qinglong turned into a tall and burly figure in midair and fell heavily to the ground, causing a violent tremor in the ground. Kaido? Roger frowned as he looked at the familiar figure in front of him. Kaido's arrival was beyond the expectations of the Roger Pirates, and even Kazuki Oden had no idea that Kaido, an old rival, would appear at such a time. Kaido, are you and Marine teaming up? Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. His expression became more solemn than ever. Everyone in the Roger Pirates also looked unkind, and Kazuki Oden couldn't help but draw his sword and wanted to rush forward. Oh, hey, I'm not here today to be your enemy. Kaido smiled disdainfully, turned around immediately, and his eyes fell on Lu Chen. You be **************** D. I haven't seen you for decades. I'm so glad you didn't die in the hands of others. Kaido grinned, carrying the mace, and sneered condescendingly. Laozi will take back the dead from the Valley of Gods with his own hands. As soon as he finished speaking, the cold aura of the beast was suddenly released from the burly body. Please give me flowers, it sounds so ambitious. Lu Chen smiled lightly. Then, the smile on his face faded and his tone gradually became indifferent. I wanted you to survive for a few days, but since you came here to die, you can save me from having to make another trip in the future. Advertisement. As soon as this statement came out, the fierce murderous intention locked Kaido instantly. Even after years of hard training, Kaido couldn't help but feel shocked when he asked himself that his current strength was dozens of times stronger than before. The shadows and fears that once brought about suddenly emerged from the bottom of my heart. But the next moment, the fear in Kaido's heart turned into anger. Laozi is going to kill you. Seeing that a war is about to break out between the 2 sides. Lu Chen looked at Roger, who walked slowly in front of him without saying a word. Big. This captain who never gives up hope, how could he do it now? Kaido was stunned by Roger's move, and half of his anger was gone. He looked at this guy in confusion. The other members of the Roger Pirates all looked confused. Why did my own captain surrender to Marine at this time?
Everyone looked at Roger in shock, as if they had heard something incredible.
Roger said, making a gesture of surrender. Hey, Captain Roger, what are you doing? But before Kaido could take action, only Rayleigh's eyes flickered slightly and he wanted to say something, but he swallowed it back, looking like he was hesitant to speak. It seems that he hasn't reacted yet, as soon as these words came out. Kazuki Oden finally realized what Roger was going to do. In the U mansion, Roger suddenly walked out and stopped in front of Kazuki Oden, Rayleigh and others. The samurai of the Kazuki family also looked at Roger in confusion, not knowing what he was going to do. Oden was shocked and shouted in panic. I'll go with you, but please let Wanokuni and my friends go. Chapter 120. You've come, let's all stay, please customize. Advertisement not to mention pirates. Even Sakazuki and the others, who were prepared for a fierce battle, looked at Roger in great surprise. Now that the opponent has a huge advantage in numbers, why did they suddenly give up resistance? And the person who gave up resistance was the legendary Pirate King. Pirate King, they know the meaning of this identity. Once the news of One Piece's capture comes out, both Marine and Lu Chen will gain unprecedented fame. For pirates, this will be an extremely heavy blow. Really? Why did you surrender all of a sudden? Kinemon stammered, completely confused. Isn't the captain of His Highness Oden the Pirate King of this sea? Although this Marine seems very strong, does he underestimate us warriors by surrendering like this? Damn it, I am so incompetent that I cannot protect my lord and my lord's captain. The 9 red scabbard heroes all exclaimed. Even Tengetsu Toki in the mansion was holding 623. Momonosuke and Hiyori, with a look of astonishment on his face. Don't know why though, but one thing is for sure. They understood why Kazuki Oden admired his captain so much. Willing to surrender and become Marine's prisoner. Give up all aura, but it gave his companions hope to live. This is indeed a strong man worthy of respect, but at this moment, facing the Pirate King's surrender and surrender conditions. Why? Lu Chen spoke calmly and spit out 3 words. Why? Hearing this, not only Roger was stunned, everyone was stunned. Even Akainu and the others behind Lu Chen were stunned. Honestly, even Sakazuki, the future tough hawk of General Marine, if faced with Roger's surrender, would only make a simple request to let his companions go. Sakazuki can guarantee that he will agree immediately. This request, not to mention him as a Marine, even if the world government comes, he will agree without hesitation. But now, Lu Chen did not answer the question, why? Advertisement Roger's expression changed slightly, and then he grinned. I am the Pirate King. The tone was full of endless confidence. 3 words for One Piece. This is the temptation that no one in this world, no matter whether it is an individual or a force, can refuse. However, Lu Chen smiled. That smile is brilliant. His eyes looked at Roger with a hint of sizing and scrutiny. One Piece? That's just a thief. Even if a pirate becomes a king, then. Lu Chen paused slightly, looked at Roger with blazing eyes, and said solemnly, what qualifications do you have to negotiate terms with Marine? As soon as these words came out, the scene suddenly fell into silence. After a long time, someone screamed in surprise. Everyone looked at Lu Chen in disbelief, looking like a monster. Whether it was the Roger Pirates or the warriors of the Moonlight family, even Kaido looked at Lu Chen in shock. What kind of god is this guy? You actually refused the Pirate King's surrender, isn't this crazy? Are you looking down on us? This arrogant guy really makes people want to hack him to death? Everyone felt incredible. Even Marine Guillaume and others looked at the young Marine senior in front of them in confusion. Master Lu Chen is so handsome, he deserves to be my idol. Guillaume held his heart in his hands, his big eyes shining with moving luster. Hey, do you know the meaning of Master Lu Chen's words? Marine rejected Pirate King Roger's offer to surrender. If the Marshal and the Celestial Dragons in the Holy Land knew about it, they would probably be furious. Crocodile said in an exaggerated tone. Is this a legend? Even One Piece doesn't pay attention to it. I really want to see the true strength of Lord Lu Chen. Sakazuki's eyes were full of expectation. Ha ha ha, he is indeed the man who defeated me once, he is as arrogant as ever. Kaido laughed loudly, the first sound contained a fervent fighting spirit. He looked at Lu Chen with fiery eyes, and the fighting spirit in his heart had reached a point where he could not suppress it. Roger, you should know the strength of that guy.
Just trying to resist his footsteps is simply a fool's errand.
Only if you and I join forces can we have a chance to kill this guy. At this time, Kaido turned and shouted to Roger. Wanokuna's warriors looked angry when they heard Kaido's contempt for them. Advertisement Kazuki Oden gritted his teeth and glared. I just don't want Wanokuni to fall into Marine's hands in vain, this is the territory that I like.
Kaido said, not hiding his ambition for Wanokuni at all.
You. Kazuki Oden's face became angry. If Marine's threat hadn't been so close, Kazuki Oden would have raised his sword to strike at him. Putting aside who owns Wanokuna's territory for now, the most important thing is to get rid of this B********* D first. Kaido said in a deep voice. When Roger heard Kaido's suggestion, he showed a serious expression on his face. In the past, he would definitely reject Kaido's proposal. But now he is facing the strongest legendary Marine, the man known as God's Punishment. Even Roger, one of the most powerful pirates in the world, who is known as the Pirate King, feels great pressure. Oh, join forces. Lu Chen smiled proudly and said, it's a useless struggle, even if you join forces, your ending will not change in any way. Kaido was excited by Lu Chen's contemptuous attitude, and roared loudly. The ground beneath his feet instantly shattered, and his majestic and tall body rushed into the sky. He had already ignored Roger's proposal to join forces. The anger of being scorned and the humiliation of losing his dignity made him want to tear this hateful B***** marine to pieces immediately. At the same time, sailing ships flying pirate flags were quickly approaching the Giuli coast. On the flag was a skull with horns. It was the Beast's Pirates, led by Jin and Quinn, who came from Ghost Island to support Kaido. Jin looked up and saw a tall figure rising into the sky, heading towards another young man wearing a marine uniform in the sky. It's Kaido-sama. He was shocked and said to Quinn, I'm going to support Lord Kaido first. It might not be good for Lord Kaido to face that monster alone. Without waiting for Quinn's consent, he immediately transformed into a pterosaur form and flew towards the Kazuki family mansion on the top of the mountain. Boom! Chen and Kaido collided with each other and punched each other. The terrifying power of the two exploded the air, and even the dark clouds above their heads were torn apart with a crack thousands of meters in front of them. Chen remained motionless, but Kaido flew backwards and was smashed to the ground again. Tisk, it seems your men are quite loyal. Chen spotted the Beast's Pirates that had landed in the distance with a calm smile on his face. There was no trace of surprise on his face, as if this situation had been expected. 4.2. Now that everyone is gathered, let's all stay. Chen's eyes swept across the Roger Pirates and the Kazuki family, and finally landed on the Beast's Pirates on the coast. Wood-style the world of flowers and trees is coming. Chen shouted loudly, and a terrifying aura bloomed from his body. In an instant, the ground shook violently, as if experiencing a strong earthquake. The entire Giuli shook with it, the seawater surged along the coast, the earth tore apart, and countless thick tree roots emerged from the ground and grew wildly. In the blink of an eye, these tree roots have stretched to the sky, and countless towering trees have enveloped the entire Giuli. In the horrified eyes of the Beast's Pirates and warriors, Giuli completely turned into a huge cage shrouded in forest. Roger realized something was wrong the moment he saw Chen perform the advent of Flower and Tree Realm, and the battle when he first encountered Chen emerged from the depths of his memories. Stop him quickly, Roger yelled, and then he rose into the sky and started to kill Chen. Chapter 121. The Power of Legend, please customize. Advertisement: the ace sword was wrapped with Peyron sword energy that could tear the mountains apart and slash down quickly. Dark clouds surged, thunder shattered, and a kilometer-long crag appeared in the gloomy sky. But such a terrifying slash suddenly stopped falling when its power reached its ultimate peak. Ding! Chen held the thunder sword behind his back with one hand and blocked Roger's sword strike with the horizontal sword. Want to stop me? It's a pity that you were too slow. Chen looked at Roger's gloomy face and blocked Roger's attack in an understatement. The power of the flower tree world has been completely released. Now the entire Giuli has been completely isolated from the outside world and is shrouded in the space of this ninjutsu. Die to Laozi. Kaido's angry roar came from behind, and the mace in his hand hit Chen's head faster than the sound. Boom. The moment the mace fell, a clone exactly like Chen blocked Kaido's attack at the cost of an arm. This doesn't matter to Chen at all, it's just a clone. One Piece Roger and Kaido of the Beasts team up to target one person, which is an unbelievable situation in everyone's eyes. The ace sword in Roger's hand was covered with black armament hockey, and black-red sword energy surrounded the sword, instantly breaking through the sky. God avoids, he shouted loudly, and his sword energy pierced the sky, killing Chen in the distance. Facing this terrifying monster, Roger had no idea of hiding his strength. Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido's eyes were blood-red, his muscles all over his body were bulging, and his strong arms were struggling to swing the mace. The black hockey and the Conqueror's hockey were intertwined together, like black lightning, striking down towards Chen. The guy who dares to covet Wanokuni is indeed very powerful. Kazuki Oden felt the terrifying attack from Kaido, and his face became serious. Even the Marine Admiral can withstand such an attack, right? The members of the Roger Pirates showed a look of amazement on their faces. Aha, is that all you have? Chen sneered at this. Advertisement facing the decisive battle between the two, he was still calm and calm. The next second, thunder exploded from Chen's body, and the dazzling light of thunder and lightning illuminated the entire flower and tree realm. Thunderbolts fell from the dark clouds one after another, and the thunder in the sky seemed to contain the power to destroy the world. It continued to hit Roger and Kaido. Every time a thunderbolt falls, a mountain peak will shatter. In the blink of an eye, the mountain peaks in Giuli were almost swept away by the thunder that continued to fall. It was only then that the likes of Beast's Pirates and Kazuki Oden realized what was happening. Is this really a power that humans can possess? Kinemon looked at the crazily stirred clouds and thunder in the sky in horror. It's simply a monster more terrifying than the three marines just now. Kikinobu's mouth grew bigger, and he was extremely frightened. He no longer knew how to describe this shocking emotion. Boom, thunder, sword chi, thunder 8 trigrams. The moment the three collided, extreme power exploded centered on the three. In an instant, the earth within a kilometer of the three people was completely torn apart. The collapsed earth sank hundreds of meters, and countless cracks formed a bottomless abyss. Three auras intertwined and then rose into the sky. The sky shrouded in dark clouds was dispersed by this aura, revealing a kilometer-sized dark vortex. The members of the pirate group who originally wanted to rush into the battlefield to help Roger face the aftermath of the impact and were completely unable to withstand being scattered further away. If Rayleigh hadn't used his sword skills in time to disperse the shockwave, the aftermath of the three-man battle would have severely damaged half of the members of the Roger Pirates. The captain and Kaido took action at the same time, but they couldn't suppress that guy. Is this the strongest Marine, the legendary monster? Kazuki Oden looked shocked and looked in disbelief at the Marine Vice Admiral in the sky who easily neutralized Roger and Kaido's attack. Jin in the distance also took in the situation of this battle. Although he was mentally prepared, the shock in his heart still could not be suppressed. This guy has become stronger. I wonder if Lord Kaido can defeat him this time, Jin thought to himself. Before Jin could finish thinking, the battlefield situation changed again. In the sky, three figures suddenly separated, and the terrifying collision of Conqueror's auras gradually subsided. Chen looked down at the entire battlefield, while his opponents Roger and Kaido fell from the sky. Advertisement: when Kaido hit the ground, a big hole was made in the Kazuki family's mansion. This B********* D is really difficult to deal with. Roger grinned, but he was not as relaxed as he looked. The thunder Chen released just now not only shattered his sword energy, but also temporarily paralyzed his body. If it weren't for Haki's protective body, the fate would have been similar to that of the Kazuki family's mansion, which was demolished alive by him. Come again. Laozi doesn't believe I can't kill you today. Kaido emerged from the rubble, his head still bleeding, and he raised his head and stared at Chen unconvinced. He is indeed the one with the strongest defense among the four emperors. Even Chen's thunder only made him a little embarrassed and did not cause too serious trauma. Roger and Kaido looked at each other. They were once enemies and disliked each other, but at this moment they were forced to join forces. Kaido stamped his feet violently, and the ground beneath his feet instantly cracked, while his burly body rushed high into the sky. Roger followed closely behind, using his western sword to continuously strike out sword energy in an attempt to harass Chen from the side. We all take action together, but we cannot let the leader fight alone, Kazuki Oden said. Of course, it's time to let Marine know that we, the 630 Roger Pirates, are not someone we can easily mess with, Rayleigh said, pulling out his sword. Although he knew that they were facing the strongest Marine in history, as the vice-captain of the strongest pirate group, he would never back down. Hey, don't ignore us. Katakori stopped in front of the Roger Pirates and said calmly.
In front of him was the legendary Roger Pirates. This world-shocking reputation not only did not make him retreat, but instead made him even more excited.
Being able to catch the vice-captain of the Roger Pirates with your own hands should be something worth remembering. Sakazuki also stood up and faced Rayleigh and others. Hey, little guys, if you want to catch me, are you too loud? Rayleigh said with a smile, but his eyes hidden behind his glasses added a bit of murderous intent. The battle broke out in an instant. The moment Sakazuki used the lava fruit ability, Rayleigh's sword slashed towards his head at a faster speed. The lava formed a shield, blocking Rayleigh's slash, but Rayleigh's fist had already appeared in front of Sakazuki. Boom! Sakazuki flew back, but when he was knocked away by Rayleigh, a ball of flame also hit Rayleigh's chest. Kuzan, Perusalino, and Katakori rushed towards the Roger Pirates at the same time, and the battlefield fell into chaos in an instant. Chapter 122. Conqueror surrounding Buddha on the top, please customize. Advertisement click. The biting ice froze the earth. Kuzan slowly retracted his hands, and the two warriors in front of him turned into ice sculptures with horrified expressions. Damn Marine, die. A samurai from the Shimotsuki family, stimulated by panic, finally chose to fight to the death. Puff. With the sound of flesh and blood being penetrated by a sharp weapon, Kuzan pulled out the ice spikes condensed in his palm from the warrior's body. A warrior of this level is not enough to threaten him. But the level of this battle is more than that. He is not facing a samurai, but samurai from the three Wanokuni families. Although the three major families suffered heavy losses under the siege of pirates, they still have strong combat power. Boom. On the other side, Sakazuki was slashed 100 meters away by Rayleigh's sword energy, but before Rayleigh could pursue him, the lava-condensed fist turned into a rain of fire, blocking his thoughts of pursuit. As expected of the vice-captain of the Roger Pirates, his combat power is completely above that of the average vice-admiral. Sakazuki wiped the bloodline from the corner of his mouth and said. His strength has already surpassed that of most vice-admirals, and even the elite vice-admirals may not be able to suppress him. But the Pirate King's deputy in front of him can knock him back with a single sword. I am afraid that his strength is infinitely close to that of the Marine Admiral. The current battle between the two sides is at a stalemate. Although the Roger Pirates are powerful, Rayleigh is a great swordsman with a strength level close to that of Admiral. However, they were unable to break through the defense line formed by Marine led by Sakazuki and others in a short period of time. If the members of the Roger Pirates want to support the captain, they must first defeat Sakazuki and other young Marine officers. While the two sides were fighting fiercely, the Beast's Pirates, led by Jin and Quinn, were already close to the edge of the battlefield. Beast's Pirates are here too. The situation is getting more and more troublesome. Rayleigh frowned as he watched the two difficult characters Jin and Quinn join in, feeling the pressure doubled. Who knows if the Sea Beast Pirates will stab them in the back at a critical moment. After Sakazuki and others saw Beast's Pirates, their faces became a little solemn, but their thoughts were similar to Rayleigh and others. They are Marines, and the other party is a pirate. When the two meet, they will naturally not say hello in a friendly manner. We don't have enough manpower. We only have 1,000 soldiers. The opponent's number is at least 10 times ours, Guillaume said with a pale face and worry. They have exhausted all their strength to deal with the Roger Pirates, and now they have no time to deal with the Beast's Pirates. Advertisement: the situation suddenly fell into a delicate situation. Roger Pirates, Sakazuki and other marines were wary of the beast's pirates. But the next moment, the battlefield in the sky changed again. The shocking sword energy and the mace containing terrifying power stirred up the wind and clouds, constantly shattering the thunder in the sky. As the two of them gradually suppressed Lu Chen, an even more terrifying aura suddenly burst out from him. What happened? Such a terrifying atmosphere. Rayleigh looked at the sky in shock. The expressions of the pirate group members behind him changed one after another, and they could hardly breathe under this terrifying aura, as if they were carrying a huge mountain on their backs. But Jianshin clasped his hands together, closed his eyes slightly, and an extremely dangerous and terrifying aura emanated from him. Roger and Kaido felt an extremely dangerous aura approaching, but their attacks had already been launched, and it was obviously too late to take them back. Suddenly, the earth shook, and the scope and amplitude of this vibration far exceeded any previous collision. The entire Wanokuni territory was affected, as if an earthquake was spreading across the country. The shock was truly apocalyptic, spreading throughout the island, making people wonder whether Wanokuni would be destroyed by this violent shock. Boom! In an instant, an extremely tall giant broke out of the ground, standing behind Lu Chen as if the great god holding up the heaven and earth. This giant has its head in the sky and its feet on the ground. At a glance, it is almost as high as the sky and the earth. Although the giant's body is extremely tall, his movements are not cumbersome at all. Instead, he has an astonishing speed that is completely inconsistent with his body size. Before Roger and Kaido's attacks could land, huge palms were approaching them. Boom! The attacks of the Western sword and mace were instantly reversed and landed on the two palms of the giant. The giant's palm trembled slightly, and the action of putting the palms together was blocked for a moment. The two took the opportunity to quickly retreat and escape the attack range of the giant's palm. What kind of monster is this? Shanks looked at the huge Buddha statue in the sky, his eyes widening. I've never seen such a move before. Is it also the fruit's ability? Kazuki Oden said with a frown. In the distance, the beast's pirates, who were about to join the battlefield, immediately gave up the idea of fighting when they saw the giant emerging from the ground. What kind of move is this? Is it the most powerful ultimate move hidden by Tianpu? Jin unconsciously retreated a distance. Advertisement: only Kaido's pupils suddenly contracted after seeing the giant, and his face became distorted the next second, as if he had seen something that made him extremely angry. This move again. 010011127 Filu 163,561,071. Lu Chen, don't you have any fresh tricks? Kaido's eyes were red and he looked at Lu Chen with murderous intent and said. During the battle at the Valley of Gods, Lu Chen relied on this move to severely injure him. Kaido regarded this as a shame in his heart and vowed to defeat Lu Chen. Lu Chen opened his eyes, and his black pupils turned into gold at some point. On his face, red gold lines extended from the corners of his eyes to the corners, like two soaring wings. Conqueror's haki surrounded the giant behind him, and in the next second, the giant grew several senju arms. Yeah? At the same time, this intern who was once a member of the Rocks gang suddenly felt his scalp numb with fear. Then, in full view of everyone, he suddenly transformed into a blue dragon and fled towards the distant sky. Today, I will definitely smash your head. Kaido roared angrily and attacked Lu Chen with an even more ferocious and arrogant attitude. Oh my god. This is too scary. Gion saw the giant suddenly grow countless huge arms, and he was so shocked that he couldn't open his mouth from ear to ear. Thousands of Buddha palms fell at the same time, hitting Kaido hard. Each Buddha's hand contained extremely terrifying power. When the Buddha's palm brushed against the mountain peak, the 1,000-meter-high mountain peak instantly collapsed and turned into ruins. My current strength has long surpassed that of before, and you can't stop me with just this move. You look very confident, let's give you a chance over there. Lu Chen stood in the air, looked down at Kaido and smiled lightly. Sage mode, turn on, golden haki burst out, and the entire sky was rendered in gold, Duanghao. The next second, hey, but your move is useless to me. Each arm is surrounded by Conqueror's haki, as if it were a mysterious tattoo engraved on the palm of the Buddha. Seeing this scene, Kaido's eyelids jumped, and panic spread from the bottom of his heart. Sakazuki and others were also shocked and speechless. They could only look at the young vice admiral in awe in the sky. Chapter 123. Heavenly Punishment, please customize. Advertisement: this dramatic scene completely exceeded everyone's expectations. Who would have thought that Kaido of the Beasts, the majestic boss of the Beasts Pirates and the so-called immortal, would escape without a fight? Lu Chen looked at Kaido, who was running away in confusion with some surprise, and then a playful smile appeared on his face. Master Lu Chen, Kaido is running away. Gion put his hands to his mouth and reminded loudly. Don't worry, he can't run away, Lu Chen said softly. The next second, seeing Kaido fleeing to the horizon and about to leave the 9-mile radius, a giant hundreds of meters tall suddenly appeared in front of him. The giant is different from the Senju Buddha statue behind Lu Chen. It is completely made of extremely thick wood. It is wood-style ninjutsu, wooden golem jutsu. Wooden golem raised his palm and grabbed Kaido, trying to stop Kaido from leaving. At this time, Kaido was panicking when he saw the adult blocking him from opening his mouth and spitting out a breath of dragon breath. The dragon's tail flicked, trying to break off wooden golem's palm. However, wooden golem jutsu is one of wood-style's most powerful ninjutsu. Especially when Lu Chen turned on sage mode, the defense increased to a terrifying level. Boom! Wooden golem's palm was unharmed, but Kaido's dragon tail suffered a broken tailbone under the huge impact, and it was released on Thursday. Wooden Golem's huge palm grasped Kaido in his palm, 290 like pinching a caterpillar, easily suppressing Kaido's power. Hiss, the Roger Pirates took a breath. Kaido of the Beasts was suppressed so easily. What kind of terrifying strength, even Kaido can't match it. The 9 heroes of the Red Scabbard are already numb. From the time Chen took action until now, they have been shocked by his strength countless times. Kaido is Wanokuni's biggest enemy and a huge rock that weighs on Kazuki Oden's heart. But seeing Kaido being suppressed at this time, Kazuki Oden and others were not happy at all. Seeing Kaido struggling hard to no avail, suddenly a black shadow quickly flew across the sky and rushed towards the Wooden Golem's palm. Master Kaido, let me save you, Jin shouted and slashed with all his strength. The 100-meter-sized blade cut through Wooden Golem's palm, actually cutting off 2 of Wooden Golem's fingers. Advertisement Kaido took the opportunity to use all his strength to break free from the grip of Wooden Golem, and tried his best to escape from Chen's attack range with Jin's help. I really let him escape, however, there is always a price to pay. Chen snorted coldly, and thousands of Buddha's palms suddenly fell towards the location of Beast's pirates. When Quinn saw Kaido and his eldest brother Jin retreating, he already wanted to quit. But he didn't expect Chen to be so decisive. The moment Kaido escaped, he transferred the attack to Beast's pirates. In the extremely horrified eyes of the Beast's pirates members, the Buddha's palm completely covered the entire pirate group. With a loud bang, the earth trembled, and the entire Beast's pirates army was destroyed. Beast's pirates were defeated like this? Bullet and others' eyes were dull, and they couldn't believe their eyes at all. Even Kaido can't handle it, let alone these guys. From today on, Beast's pirates may become history, Jabba said.
Now is not the time to lament. The smoke dispersed, and a gentle voice appeared along with a figure, reaching the ears of the members of the Roger Pirates.
This gentle and melodious voice made everyone in the Roger Pirates feel as if they were facing a formidable enemy, and all of them looked at the visitor with extremely dark and solemn looks. Chen held the sword in his right hand and held Marine in his left hand as he walked up to the Roger Pirates. With a faint smile on his face, he stared at Roger and said, "Now that the obstruction has been cleared, it's your turn. But you have to be serious, otherwise you might be the next one to be destroyed." "Perhaps so, but I think it may be you who fail," Roger said in a deep voice. Facing Chen, Roger was also under great pressure.
But as the strongest pirate and the man who carries the title of Pirate King, he will not retreat at all even when facing the most powerful enemy.
"Captain, leave this guy to me," Kazuki Oden stepped forward and said. "Huh, you can't kill this guy. He is the strongest Marine." Roger rejected Kazuki Oden's request. He naturally knew Kazuki Oden's plan, which was to create an opportunity for the Roger Pirates to escape. But from now on, Guangyang Yuyu will inevitably become Marine's prisoner. "Then let's go together. This is Wanokuni, even Marine can't get any benefits," Kazuki Oden said loudly. Advertisement: the war is about to break out. The first to take action was not Chen, Roger, and Kazuki Oden, but Sakazuki behind Chen. He has only one target, and that is Sherry, the captain of the pirate group. The previous battle was forcibly interrupted because of Chen, and now he wants to continue to complete this unfinished battle. "Let me see how much water there is in this guy who is the vice captain of the Pirate King's pirate group." Sakazuki's eyes were determined, and his whole body burned with hot lava, and he rushed towards Rayleigh.
"Hey, this kind of difficult opponent is really a headache."
A bullet passed through the head, but the person whose head was hit by the bullet did not fall down, but turned into a ball of light and quickly dispersed in all directions. The next second, Perusolino appeared behind Bullet, his lazy expression containing ruthless murderous intent.
Boom. At this moment, suddenly, countless towering trees began to move. Many of the towering trees that originally covered the coast suddenly emerged from under the earth, dividing the entire Julie ground into small battlefields.
But the moment the bullet came out of the chamber, the opponent had disappeared again.
At the same time, Kuzan faced the 3 major Wanokuni samurai families head-on alone, and blocked the samurai of the Shimotsuki family, Fugetsu family and Ugetsu family with one person.
"Well, this level should be enough to train these little guys," Chen said while looking at the divided battlefield. Jabba's sneak attack landed on Kongchu, and he looked at Perusolino who appeared 1,000 meters away with a headache. If it weren't for his superhuman observation haki, even a user with fruit abilities wouldn't be able to deal with so many samurai at the same time who can match the strength of Marine Vice Admiral. "Hey, these samurai are so annoying." Gion knocked away a samurai's sword with his sword, only to face another attack from 6 or 7 samurai. Then his eyes fell on Roger and Kazuki Oden, and said, "Next, it's your turn." This time the opponent turned out to be the 9 heroes of the Red Scabbard, not one of them, but one person facing all the Red Scabbards. This Marine Rear Admiral is simply more difficult to deal with than the Vice Admiral. This is not because Kuzan is warlike, but because the number of Marines this time is really limited. In addition to the samurai from the 3 major families, many wandering samurai also participated in the battle. Bullet turned the head of the sniper rifle in his hand, resisted the opponent's kick with the gun barrel, and at the same time pulled out the pistol and aimed it at the opponent's eyebrows. However, Katakori is under the greatest pressure. His strength is already slightly weaker than the 3 Sakazukis. Although there are top-level combatants like Chen, the difference in numbers is too great, and the outcome of this battle is still unclear. Are you ready to face sanctions? Seeing more and more pirates and samurai joining the battle, the situation became very unfavorable for Marine. Chapter 124. Time Fruit Ability, please customize. Advertisement facing the powerful combat power of the members of the Whitebeard Pirates, as well as the Wanokuni warriors who continuously rush to the top of the mountain. Even the monsters in the marine, Sakazuki and the others, who were as strong as the strong ones, found it very difficult. Especially facing a strong swordsman like Rayleigh, it was not easy for Akainu to barely restrain his actions. After all, today's future admiral still has not fully grown up. Of course, if it were the same generation, let alone Rayleigh. I'm afraid Roger himself won't get any benefits from these 3 future admirals. If you are careless, the outcome will be uncertain. It's really a difficult kid, but this level is not enough. Rayleigh said with a solemn expression. He tore the earth apart with his sword, and his amazing sword energy cut countless lava fists into pieces. You talk too much nonsense. Sakazuki gritted his teeth and unleashed the fruit power with all his strength. The two collided, sending airwaves into the sky and hot magma splashing out, igniting the surrounding buildings and trees. No one dares to approach this battlefield, and the other side. Kuzan relied on the powerful ability of frozen fruit to continuously freeze the warriors of the 3 major families who rushed up into ice sculptures. However, the strength of the warriors of the 3 major families is also quite strong. The power of sword energy combined with emission is no less than that of a swordsman. Wow, these samurai are really tough, Gion said a little manically after he knocked away the weapons of the 2 samurai with his sword and whipped the 2 samurai away with his long jade legs. All this was seen by Roger. He stared at Chen, grinned, and said, I admit that you are very strong, but the situation of these little guys under you is not good. Huh, that's why it's interesting, Chen smiled lightly. The next second, his gentle gaze suddenly became sharp. The world of flowers and trees blooms. The towering trees covering the entire Giuli area bloom without flowers. The flower buds bloom quickly, and the strange floral fragrance mixed into the air, permeating the entire flower and tree world. At the same time, countless huge ancient trees sprouted from the ground, dividing the battlefield into countless small battlefields. Many warriors who rushed towards the crowd were disrupted by the rapidly changing battlefield. Many reinforcements were blocked by ancient trees and could not reach the battlefield in time. Smelling the fragrance of the flowers, all the Wanokuni warriors and members of the Whitebeard Pirates felt dizzy, and their attacks instantly became lax and scattered. The little marine monsters did not miss this sudden opportunity and immediately launched a counterattack. Sakazuki shouted angrily, and punched Rayleigh's face with his elemental fist. Go to hell. The hot and overbearing flames were so close that Rayleigh realized something was wrong the moment he felt dizzy. Advertisement, but he was worthy of being a great swordsman, second only to Roger in strength. This discomfort was instantly suppressed by him and he immediately raised the long sword's crossbar. But it's still too late. Sakazuki's magma fist fell, causing the sword to bounce back under the pressure. The magma exploded and fire exploded. Boom, Rayleigh was punched into the ground, leaving a huge pit in the ground. This scene made the hearts of the pirates in the distance tremble, and they looked at the young rear admiral who was breathing heavily in disbelief. He actually injured Rayleigh from the front. This guy is really powerful.
Bullet said in a surprised tone. The next second, his gun was pointed at Porcelino in front, and he pulled the trigger without hesitation.
The bullet passed through Porcelino's body, but did not cause any harm to him, as if his body was completely illusory. Tien Kong Yun's sword. Porcelino clasped his palms together, and a sun-handled lightsaber seemed to grow out of his palms. The sword struck down, and Jabba, who was about to take advantage of the opportunity to make a sneak attack, was blown away by the power of the lightsaber explosion. The marine side, which was originally suppressed, actually withstood the joint attack of the Whitebeard Pirates and the Wanokuni samurai due to the effect of this strange floral fragrance.
The situation on the battlefield suddenly formed a delicate balance.
You two don't have time to watch a show. The thunderous sword suddenly appeared in front of Roger, and Chen's attack came instantly. On the battlefield, a battle between the 2 strongest people broke out instantly. Chen's attack was extremely ferocious. With one strike of his sword, the ground in front of him shattered and a bottomless abyss appeared. Roger snorted coldly, surrounded armament hockey with his western sword, and slashed out with the same sword energy. The 2 sword energy collided, forming a chaotic sword energy storm, with the 2 people as the center, shattering the surrounding earth within hundreds of meters into countless fine sand and stones. Damn you, don't ignore me, Kazuki Oden shouted and appeared behind Chen instantly. The Erdao style released an astonishing sword energy, and the cross-shaped sword energy was about to cut off Chen's head. Oh, is this the pride of a samurai? Chen said lightly, and the thundersword instantly blocked Kazuki Oden's sneak attack. The moment he took action, observation hockey had already predicted the attack. Thunder broke out, and the violent power of thunder and lightning ripped Jianwei into pieces like countless sharp claws. Then Chen jumped up and kicked Kazuki Oden in the chest. Blocked, counterattack, just in an instant. The long-standing tacit understanding between Roger and Kazuki Oden was easily resolved by Chen. In the Kazuki Oden mansion, a young and beautiful woman looked at the earth-shattering battle outside the mansion. Advertisement. There was a look of deep worry on her face, just when Guangyang's wife, Guang Mu. Please give me flowers. This woman who came from 800 years ago and has traveled in the long river of time found herself completely unable to see through the outcome of this battle. Even the time fruit can't capture the trajectory of this marine? Kazuki whispered to himself. With the power of the time fruit, she can briefly glimpse the future. But when she was using the fruit ability just now, she found an indescribable power shrouding Chen. He is like a mist, completely unable to capture his figure in the long river of time. Kazuki had a feeling that this battle was going to go in the worst direction. In fact, the current situation has developed in a very bad direction. She once again unleashed the power of Devil Fruit and tried her best to see the outcome of this battle. Due to excessive use of the power of the fruit, her beautiful face became very pale. How can it be? A tear of blood flowed from the corner of Kazuki's eyes, and the mirror of time suddenly shattered. At the moment when the mirror of time shattered, she saw something incredible. Has the power of this marine become so terrifying? Kazuki looked sad. Squeak, the door to the room opened, and a young female ninja wearing a pink ninja uniform appeared outside. Madam, I am a ninja from the Fulu show team, you can call me Xiao Nin. The situation outside is very bad. I am here to protect your safety under the general's order. The female ninja knelt down on one knee and said respectfully. Team Fulu show, can I trust you? Kazuki looked at Shinobu seriously. Seeing Shinobu's determined and loyal eyes, Kazuki seemed to have made some kind of decision. Please take Momonosuke out of here, Kazuki suddenly said to Shinobu. What? Mother, I don't want to leave you. Momonosuke, who was beside Kazuki, grabbed his mother's sleeve tightly and said in panic. Mother, did I make any mistake? Please punish me, but please don't let me leave. When Kazuki saw Momonosuke crying, he hesitated, but in the end he said resolutely, Xiao Ren, please take Momonosuke out of here. Tengayama Hitotsu is my husband's good friend, please ask him to take good care of Momonosuke. Although Momonosuke continued to struggle and cry, he was ultimately unable to resist the power of Shinobu, and in despair, Shinobu held him under his arm and left through the back door of the mansion. But just when Xiao Ren was about to leave through the back door, the sky above his head suddenly darkened, and a green and white dragon swooped from the sky towards the battlefield. Chapter 125. You are already surrounded by me, please customize. Advertisement, that's Kaido of the Beasts. Xiao Ren looked at the black shadow covering the sky, and the giant green dragon rushed towards the earth like a peerless ferocious beast. She didn't expect that Kaido, who had fled in embarrassment before, would come back again. Not only did she not expect, but no one present could predict that Kaido would come back again. Son of AB***ch, Laozi can't beat you, but he still wants to make it difficult for you. Kaido's eyes burned with angry flames, and he opened his mouth to spit out a mouthful of flames. The flames penetrated the two mountains, the towering peaks were melted by the flames, and the scorching dragon's breath flowed freely. The flower and tree world also quickly burned in the flames spouted by Kaido. Although this is a powerful wood style performed by Chen, the properties of the flower and tree realm itself will not change and will still burn when exposed to fire. In the blink of an eye, the entire flower and tree world was enveloped in fire. Master Kaido, please slow down, don't be targeted by that Marine 860 army again. Jin, who transformed into a pterosaur form, followed Kaido and carefully observed the battle on the ground. Seeing the fierce sword energy ravaging the earth, Chen swept across the mountains with every movement of his hands and feet, tearing up the sky in a terrifying offensive. Jin's heart couldn't stop trembling, and there was unconcealable fear in his eyes. How could such a pervert appear in Marine? Even Marine Admiral is nothing more than this. Jin cursed in his heart. The magma that continues to erupt on the ground accelerates the burning and disintegration of the flower and tree realm. This is naturally a masterpiece from Sakazuki, whose lava fruit also has a burning effect on the flower and tree world. Boom, a breath of flames was shot towards the center of the battlefield, and the air became distorted under the high temperature of the ultimate flame. The target of this flame was Chen, who was at the center of the battle, fighting against Roger and Kazuki Oden. He forced Roger back with one sword, and at the same time shattered Kazuki Oden's two-sword-style sword energy with one punch. Chen's eyes flashed with coldness. He opened his 5 fingers, and thunder and lightning raged in his palm, which instantly turned into a giant net to intercept the incoming flame breath. If there is a road to heaven, you won't take it. If there is no door to hell, you will break through it. Chen's eyes flashed with unabashed murderous intent, and the Conqueror's haki and cold murderous intent were entangled, almost turning into reality. Under this terrifying murderous intention, the ground under his feet cracked, and the sky seemed to collapse, making a roaring and trembling sound. What happened? Everyone in the battle felt this terrifying murderous intention, and stopped fighting one after another to look at the source of the ancient tea garden. Such a terrifying murderous intention is simply appalling. Advertisement Rayleigh retreated to distance herself from Sakazuki, her eyes behind her glasses filled with fear. Kaido, you idiot, why do you want to anger this guy? Roger's face became extremely solemn. This guy's murderous intention has almost become a reality. Unless he is a strong swordsman, he will not be able to withstand this terrifying murderous intention head-on. Kazuki Oden wiped the bloodline from his face and looked at the Marine Vice Admiral in front of him in horror. Although this murderous intention was not directed at him, it still made him fear from the bottom of his heart. Senior Chen is angry. This is the first time I have seen Master Chen with such strong murderous intent. Sakazuki and others looked at Chen in shock. They could not imagine that the always gentle Chen Vice Admiral would exude such terrifying and strong murderous intent. Boom. The surging dark clouds in the sky quickly condensed, and in the thick and dark thunderclouds, blue-purple light continued to shine. Before Kaido could react, a giant palm with thunder suddenly appeared in the dark clouds. Purple thunder surrounded the giant palm and suppressed Kaido with the force of covering the clouds and the sun. Hold head high, Kaido let out a dragon roar, roared angrily and breathed out dragon breath, trying to melt the giant thunder palm. But the power of this giant thunder palm was far beyond Kaido's imagination, and the dragon's breath was scattered with one palm. In an instant, a giant palm descended, covering Kaido in shadow. Kaido's body, which was hundreds of meters tall, was like a ball being blown away under the giant thunder palm. It turned into a charred figure and fell diagonally towards the earth, slamming into a mountain. HMPH, I almost missed a fly. Lu Chen suppressed Kaido with one move. Zhu Guang glanced at the black pterosaur in the sky. He flicked his fingers, and all the remaining power of the giant thunder palm fell on Jin. In an instant, Jin followed Kaido's footsteps and turned into a charred figure falling from the sky. Oh, enough time has been wasted, this battle should be over. Lu Chen said suddenly. Arrogant, this battle has yet to be decided. The scarred Kazuki Oden shouted and rushed towards Lu Chen again. Lu Chen smiled lightly and said, you are really innocent and cute. When I set foot on this island, you, advertisement. I was already surrounded. Ninpo Wood-style clone. Lu Chen shouted, and instantly spawned countless clones to support the surrounding battlefield. What is that? A group of warriors were relying on their numerical advantage to suppress Gion at a disadvantage. They were about to capture her when they saw a figure flying from a distance. The figure was extremely fast and entered the battlefield in the blink of an eye. He punched out and killed several warriors directly. Immediately after that, he whipped his legs and sent several guys left behind flying out. Gion stared blankly at the figure that appeared, the familiar marine cloak fluttering in the wind. Lord Lu Chen. Gion shouted excitedly. The next second, the clone appeared 100 meters away, killing towards the place where the most warriors gathered. Not only the battlefield where Gion is located, but Lu Chen's clone can be seen on the entire battlefield in just a short moment. Although it is just his clone, it is still a very terrifying enemy to Wanokuni's samurai. Puff Sakazuki avoided Rayleigh's sword edge, but the moment the sword edge passed by, blood still spurted out from his shoulder. Haki Entanglement, the ability that can only be possessed by training armament Haki to ultimate. Just when Sakazuki was a little slow to react, Rayleigh's slash fell again, this time hitting his vitals directly. Seeing that this sword was inevitable, Sakazuki was ready to fight for injuries. Even if he died, he would severely damage Fuli. Ding, a crisp collision sound came from above the head. Sakazuki's eyes widened and he stared blankly at the back of Rayleigh, who blocked Rayleigh's killing blow with a sword. Kid, don't be distracted during the battle. 4.2. The man slashed a bolt of thunder to force Rayleigh back, while looking at Sakazuki. Countless clones joined the battlefield, causing the battlefield to change in an instant. Whether it's a samurai from Wanokuni or a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. When facing Lu Chen's clone, his first feeling was incomprehensible. Why did that man suddenly appear in front of him when he was obviously fighting with the captain? Then they discovered something even more terrifying. The terrifying Marine Vice Admiral could be seen everywhere on the battlefield. Everyone who faces him has a deep understanding of what it means to be strong. And visceral trembling. For a moment, they couldn't tell whether they were surrounded by Marine, or whether they were surrounded by this terrible Marine Vice Admiral. Chapter 126. In a life or death situation, Roger kneels down in despair. Please customize. Advertisement. The chaotic and anxious battlefield was completely changed after the appearance of Lu Chen's clone. No Wanokuni warrior can withstand the power of Lu Chen's clone, and no sword can stop the thunderous sword. The balance of victory quickly tilted towards Marine. Looking at the falling samurai and his men struggling in a pool of blood, Kazuki Oden felt desperate. He seemed to see those subordinates struggling to death, clutching their sleeves with blood-stained hands. With an unwilling tone, he let out a desperate roar. At this moment, Kazuki Oden's defense completely collapsed. Ah, you B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Why do you want to conquer us? Damn Marine, why do you have to target me? Kazuki Oden roared angrily, waving Tianyu Yuzan and Yama wildly. The sword energy full of anger was continuously released, and for a time, Kazuki Oden's great swordsman-level strength was undoubtedly displayed. He roared crazily, as if to vent his anger, abandoning defense and attacking Lu Chen with all his strength. Even Roger was moved by this crazy gesture. Oh, what an idiot. Lu Chen sneered and said, a waste like you, if you weren't born into the Kazuki family. What qualifies you to become the ruler of Wanokuni? Although that guy Kurozumi is disgusting, at least he has a better brain than you. You're talking nonsense. There was a hint of panic in Kazuki U-27TN's eyes, as if he was touched by Lu Chen's words. As a general of a country, the leader of this country, you have recklessly abandoned your country's subjects and ignored your own responsibilities and mission. He willingly fell down and became a pirate. For someone like you to inherit Wanokuni, it seems like your country is already in ruins. Lu Chen sneered. To be honest, if you put aside the so-called friendship between pirates. Looking at the life of the original heir to the general in front of him, he could not see any bright spots. IQ? Strength? Friendship? Responsibility? Sorry, none? The enemy who has the ability to kill is being fooled around because of his idiotic thoughts. It can be said, Kazuki Oden's life has been a failure. Strong, never place your hopes on an illusory future. Obviously, Kazuki Oden has no strength, but there's no strong heart. In terms of character alone, he is not as good as Lu Chen's future grandnephew.
I'll kill you. Kazuki Oden's attack became even more frenzied, as if he didn't want Lu Chen to continue talking.
But with his strength, how could he stop Lu Chen?
A casual sword smashed the two-sword energy, and with a flash of lightning, Lu Chen appeared behind Kazuki Oden.
At the same time, another wound was added to Kazuki Oden's body. Whoa! What the hell is this B********* D Marine talking about? Lord Oden has become the leader of Wanokuni by virtue of his own strength. Kinemon roared angrily. He no longer cared about his injuries and wanted to rush forward and chop the Marine who was talking nonsense. Advertisement. The Kazuki family is the general of Wanokuni. As the heir of the Kazuki family, it is reasonable for Lord Oden to become the admiral army. If it wasn't for the Kurozumi family's rebellion, how could it have ended up like this? If you dare to insult our lord, we will not let you go even if we die in battle. The samurai of the Shimotsuki family also shouted loudly. What qualifications do you have as a marine to dictate to Wanokuna's heir? Don't you think too highly of yourself? Denjiro roared loudly. If he hadn't been seriously injured and unable to move, he would have rushed up to fight Lu Chen to the death. Hearing the angry retorts from the Red Scabbard Nine and the Wanokuni warriors, the smile on Lu Chen's face became even brighter. You, an irresponsible waste, actually have a group of loyal subordinates following you. It seems that this Wanokuni is already rotten. This kind of country, don't even want it. Boom. Lu Chen grabbed Kazuki Oden's head and slammed him into the ground. After today, I want this Wanokuni, no more king. Lu Chen said every word. The air pressure of heaven and earth instantly sank to ultimate. What? As soon as this statement came out, the whole place was in an uproar, and everyone looked at Lu Chen in shock. In addition to being shocked, all Wanokuni warriors felt extremely angry. This is not only contempt for them, but also an insult to Wanokuni and a trampling on the dignity of Wanokuni and the Kazuki family.
This guy is as scary as the rumors say. He is simply a devil. Roger thought to himself, and was extremely shocked by Lu Chen's words.
But, do the celestial dragons really allow him to act like this? Roger knows the subtle relationship between Wanokuni and various kingdoms, and naturally also knows that the celestial dragons deliberately maintain Wanokuna's status in the world. On Marine's side, after being shocked, Sakazuki and others were in high spirits and looked at Lu Chen with fiery eyes. They know that Marine's mission this time is not to destroy Wanokuni, but to capture Kazuki Oden. Now, Lu Chen has openly announced that he will abolish the monarch of this country. This is undoubtedly an open declaration of war against a country. As expected of a legend, this is Master Lu Chen's haki. Sakazuki looked at Lu Chen with admiration. The battle has reached this point, and Roger has seen that the situation is irreversible. The numerical advantage of the Wanokuni warriors did not bring the expected results. And he once again experienced the power of Lu Chen. The strength of this Marine Vice Admiral was definitely the most terrifying figure in the world. Roger turned back and looked at Rayleigh, eye contact. No words were needed, but Rayleigh understood what he was thinking. During the battle with Sakazuki and others, as well as Lu Chen's clone, the members of the Roger Pirates quietly gathered towards Roger's location. Due to the power of Kaido and Sakazuki's lava fruit, the flower and tree realm has long been burned to the ground, unable to stop the pirate group from retreating. Roger pushed Lu Chen back with a full blow. Looking at the pirate group members who had gathered around him, he immediately gave the order to retreat. When everyone heard the order, they fled towards the seaside as quickly as possible. Want to escape? Did you leave? Lu Chen sneered, turned into an afterimage and chased after him. Kazuki Oden shouted loudly, and used his last strength to bring out the power of the double sword style swordsmanship to ultimate, trying to block the path to pursue. Lu Chen also slashed out with his sword, and the two-sword energy with astonishing power instantly collapsed. Boom! Lu Chen punched Kazuki Oden in the face, and Kazuki Oden turned into a stream of light and smashed the family mansion into ruins. Seeing this, Roger knew that he would be caught up sooner or later if he continued like this. You go first, Roger said in a deep voice. Advertisement. He turned around and decided to stop the monster behind him. You think too highly of yourself. Lu Chen snorted coldly when he saw Roger standing in front of him. The thunder sword was unsheathed and instantly turned into a thunder that enveloped Roger. Roger was also not to be outdone and released an extremely powerful sword energy. The two conquerors' forces clashed, turning the entire mountain into rubble. But facing the serious Lu Chen, even Roger was still no match. After dozens of moves, Lu Chen finally cut him down with a sword, creating a huge crater in the ruins. Seeing Lu Chen approaching, the members of the Roger Pirates felt a sense of despair. Sakazuki and others are already very difficult to deal with. If Lu Chen catches up with them again, they will have no chance of escaping. You go, I'll stop this guy. At the critical moment, Jabba stepped forward and left the hope of escape to his companions. You be ********************************* D, don't underestimate us. He roared in the sky and threw it in the direction Lu Chen flew from. Facing Jabba's obstruction, Lu Chen's expression did not change at all. Blocking the opponent's offensive with one sword, the sword light instantly passed over 097 the opponent's body. The next second, Jabba fell from the air and his body was separated. The picture is bloody and terrifying. Everyone in Roger's group who escaped had their eyes red. Watching. Lu Chen approached them step by step. The mood of despair lingers in everyone's heart. Right now. Stop. A roar came from the mountain in the distance. It turned out that Roger, who had been smashed into the ground, rushed out, his whole body covered by the extremely powerful Conqueror's haki. Even Sakazuki and others who were far away were shocked by this terrifying Conqueror's haki impact. Lu Chen looked at the charging Roger and smiled calmly, and the lightning flashed on the sword's edge. The powerful thunder sword was gathered together, ready to send out a thunderous strike. But the next moment, the majestic pirate king actually knelt down to a marine. Knees down, land on the ground. The brave and unparalleled people stopped unconsciously at this moment and were stunned. Just when everyone thought Roger was preparing to fight back desperately, the legendary pirate. Not only him, but everyone present could not believe that this scene really happened. This guy can't be fake, right? As for Marine, blocking Lu Chen's way. Katakori almost dropped the halberd in his hand and looked at Roger kneeling on the ground in disbelief. Shanks yelled and wanted to go back but was stopped by Rayleigh. The remaining members of Roger's regiment were all filled with anger and wanted to return.
But, the only pirate king in the world abandoned his sword and knelt in front of Lu Chen.
Everyone's eyes widened and they couldn't believe what they saw. Captain. Rayleigh gritted his teeth and shed tears, but he endured his grief and forcefully led them to escape from Jiuli. Plop. This chapter 127. Roger, you are really unscrupulous, please customize. Advertisement One Piece. Roger actually knelt down to a marine, which is something no one can imagine. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock, and their eyes widened and they couldn't believe what they saw with their own eyes. Marine's side was shocked and extremely excited. Not even Marine Admiral can make Roger, the Pirate King, do such an act of abandoning his dignity. Is Master Lu Chen so powerful that the Pirate King is ashamed of himself? Katakori looked at the road in wonder. Until now, the Roger pirates still couldn't accept that the always unruly captain would do such a thing. Sacrificing your dignity as the Pirate King in exchange for the final way out for your companions? What a big heart and courage, is this the King of the Sea? Kinnaman and the others were shocked and sighed. Apart from being amazed, they also felt very guilty. Compared to the sacrifices Roger made, what are they? Even Lu Chen was stunned for a moment by Roger's sudden move. I thought I would face Roger's desperate counterattack, but I didn't expect him to be so decisive. Kneeling down in front of him without hesitation was something completely unforeseen in advance. It was this moment of loss that allowed the Roger pirates to seize the last glimmer of hope. Only Rayleigh remained sober at this moment. You guys, what are you still doing? Withdraw. At this moment, Rayleigh showed the amazing fighting power of the great swordsman. The sudden burst of sword energy caught Sakazuki and the others off guard, and they used all their strength to resist the blow that was enough to cut off the sea. Taking advantage of the brief gap when the marine defense line was torn apart, the members of the pirate group quickly rushed out of the encirclement and flew 9 miles away. At this time, Sakazuki and others also reacted, but it was too late to catch up. The members of the Roger pirates are very powerful if they want to escape. Unless it was Lu Chen, no one could catch up and intercept them. Roger, do you know what you're doing? Lu Chen's eyes were indifferent, and there was no emotion or anger on his expressionless face. Just now, if Roger had tried to stop him, he would have been able to kill the opponent and continue to pursue him. But now, advertisement the Pirate King knelt down, which was unexpected. After a moment of confusion and shock, Rayleigh and others ran away. Oh, in this way, we can create a glimmer of hope for our fellow party members. I have to say that you are indeed smart and your plan is very successful. Lu Chen sneered. Faced with Lu Chen's ridicule, Roger said seriously, if my companions can escape from Marine's clutches, even if first kowtowed Marine, I won't care at all. Roger's words shocked everyone, and the Wanokuni Takes looked at him with admiration. In order to achieve your goal, you really do whatever it takes. Even the so-called dignity can be completely abandoned. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly and said pointedly, if the target conflicts with your companions or relatives, I doubt that you will even abandon your family ties. After finishing speaking, he turned around and glanced at the samurai of the Wanokuni daimyo family. In this battle, they are the few survivors. Since the pirates have escaped, you can stay. Lu Chen said lightly. As soon as he finished speaking, an extremely huge tree trunk emerged from the ground. Countless arms-thick branches extended from the trunk, shrouding the warriors of the Shimotsuki family. Faced with these sudden attacks, the warriors of the Shimotsuki family wanted to resist, but these branches were extremely flexible and extremely fast. In an instant, these warriors were restrained by the wood-style ninjutsu released by Lu Chen.
Sakazuki, Master Lu Chen, is there anything you need me to do? Sakazuki ran over with an excited look on his face. Until now, he is still unable to extricate himself from the joy of victory.
Have someone come over and clean it up. You may not be able to handle this strenuous work. Lu Chen ordered. Soon, almost as soon as the order was given. The marine soldiers who were left behind to guard the warship had already arrived. Marine rushed here and was shocked when he saw the devastated battlefield. What just happened? Did the enemy use thousands of cannons to bombard the battlefield?
Don't be kidding, even if there are thousands of cannons, they may not be able to blow up everything within a dozen miles.
Even the mountains were flattened, which is simply not something that the power of artillery can do. What a terrifying destructive power. Isn't this battlefield enough to destroy a country?
Advertisement. The Marines were so frightened that they broke out in a cold sweat and had no idea what to do.
That's Pirate King Roger. A Marine major couldn't help but turn pale with fright when he saw Lu Chen approaching, the man kneeling on his knees. What? Marine was on the verge of a formidable enemy, but when they saw Roger kneeling down in front of Lu Chen, they were all shocked. This scene is like a dream. Even a dream is not as weird as the current scene. Hey, don't be lazy. Lu Chen, who was sitting on a big rock, said proudly.
Lock this guy up and keep a close eye on him. If he gets away, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the Sea Kings.
After hearing Lu Chen's order, these generals and soldiers calmed down and hurried forward to lock Roger up with extra-large shackles. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that guy Odin. Roger was being escorted by soldiers. When he passed by the Wanokuni warriors, he said with a guilty expression. Not only did this battle fail to repel Marine, but Kazuki Odin was severely injured by Marine, and his life or death is unknown now. You don't have to be like this, we are useless. As a warrior, we can't protect the general. He led a group of young generals and walked straight towards Kazuki's mansion.
There's no rush. At least you need to clean up your tail first.
However, her pale face looked very bad, her breath was weak, and she seemed to be dying soon. However, at this time, the Kazuki family mansion was already empty. In addition to the samurai who died in battle, there were at least nearly 8,000 people captured present. Shimotsuki Yushimaru felt that he had failed in his mission and had failed to live up to the expectations of the Kazuki family. She held a 2 or 3-year-old little girl in her arms and looked at Lu Chen timidly. Of course, Lu Chen just thought about it, and he was not crazy enough to massacre prisoners of war. Sakazuki asked, Master Lu Chen, are you taking all these guys back? Lu Chen said lightly, not wanting to look at warrior Wanokuni's face again. Those guys who are full of foolish and loyal thoughts should have been slapped to death just now. Wait until the battlefield is almost cleared. Opening the door to the living room, Lu Chen saw a woman wearing a kimono sitting in the room, looking calmly at Marine in front of her. Shimotsuki Gyumaru said with a sad expression, the Navy, Zhao Hao, only has one ship, which cannot hold so many prisoners. Chapter 128. Self-impressed idiot, please decide, advertisement. Master Lu Chen, be careful. Sakazuki stood in front of Lu Chen to prevent this woman from plotting anything. There were only these 2 people in front of him in the entire mansion, which made Sakazuki feel a little uneasy. It doesn't matter. Lu Chen patted Sakazuki on the shoulder and motioned for him to get out of the way. Only then did Sakazuki realize what if there was really a conspiracy against Lu Chen. With Lu Chen's strength, there is no need for him to take action. You're late. Tian Yueshi laughed miserably and said feebly. Lu Chen and Tian Yueshi looked at each other for a long time, then slowly looked away and said, you are much smarter than Kazuki Odin, Mrs. Tian Yueshi. So what, it won't change the outcome after all. Tian Yueshi sighed and said, when Lu Chen said her name, an imperceptible change flashed across her face. This Marine was scarier than she expected. The secret of the time fruit should not be hidden from his eyes, right? Where is Kazuki Odin? Lu Chen asked. On the way to the mansion with Sakazuki and others, he found no trace of Kazuki Odin. The guy was severely injured by Lu Chen and had no energy left to escape. Lu Chen's eyes fell on Tian Yueshi. This woman traveled through time and space from 800 years ago. I hope you will never find him. Tian Yueshi's beautiful face burst into a happy smile. Tian Yu's breath became weaker and weaker, and even Kazuki Hiyori in her arms felt that her mother's condition was not good. After saying these words, her breath of life gradually disappeared, until the last trace of vitality completely dissipated. She still maintained a pure and happy smile. Mother, please wake up. Mother, don't you want Hiyori? Kazuki Hiyori shook Amazuki's arm uneasily, and his childish voice echoed in the room. But Tian Yueshi was completely silent and could no longer answer her daughter. Witnessing this cruel war, how could Kazuki Hiyori not know that his mother was dead? But she still tried to wake up her mother in her own way. Until her voice became hoarse from crying, Tian Yueshi still failed to respond to her cry. Seeing this woman who died peacefully, Sakazuki and others looked moved. However, comparing the expressions of everyone present, Lu Chen's face showed no emotion at all. Advertisement in his eyes, there was a hint of strange light. Has the time fruit power exhausted your life? Sure enough, he is an idiot who only cares about himself. Finally, Lu Chen shook his head and sighed. He glanced at Kazuki Hiyori, who was still lying next to Amazuki, sobbing softly, and said to Gion, take her with you, she should not bear the consequences of the war. After giving the order, he turned around and left, not wanting to stay here for a moment. In situ, Sakazuki and others all looked at each other. Momosagi walked in cautiously, picked up the young Hiyori, and then silently exited. Not long after, returned to the ruined battlefield. When Roger saw Lu Chen returning with the marine youngsters, but not Kazuki Odin, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It seems your capture plan failed, Marine Vice Admiral. Roger laughed, showing no sign of being a prisoner. Don't be too happy, that guy Kazuki Odin hasn't left Wanokuni yet.
Facing Roger's ridicule, Lu Chen said calmly. Roger was stunned when he heard this, and seemed not to understand the meaning of Lu Chen's words.
Lu Chen ignored him and ordered Marine to imprison Roger on the ship. This move drew angry scoldings from the Red Scabbard 9 and the samurai, and Marine was not to be outdone. Some grumpy Marines held down the most arrogant Raizo and Ashura Doji and beat them up. In terms of strength, these Marine soldiers are no match for the 9 Red Scabbards. But right now, they are just fish on the chopping board, unable to resist Marine's fists and kicks. A whole Marine, what do you want to do again? Seeing Lu Chen coming towards him, Shimotsuki Gyumaru shouted loudly. He now has a terrible impression of Marine, especially the Marine Vice Admiral in front of him. If possible, he would like to chop off the other person's head and hang it on the Shimotsuki family's wall of honor. You guys, do you only have eyes for the Kazuki family? Lu Chen automatically filtered out the disrespect in the other party's words and asked. Hearing this, Shimotsuki Yushimaru was stunned, and the surrounding daimyo and samurai also looked at Lu Chen in confusion, not understanding the meaning of his words. What do you mean? Tell me clearly. CHBH, hey, don't let Laozi use your brain to guess what your marine is thinking. Shimotsuki Yushimaru's tone was still unkind. I should have told you before that the monarch will disappear from Wanokuni after today. If you only have eyes for the Shimotsuki family and the high-ranking ruling family, I don't mind following the procedure. He paused and continued, but, if you want to contribute to the people of Wanokuni, I can give you your freedom and allow you to remain a Wanokuni warrior. Advertisement, what? The Wanokuni warriors looked at Lu Chen in surprise, as if trying to find traces of deception and conspiracy on his face. But Lu Chen's face was calm and his eyes were sincere. This was entirely what he thought from the bottom of his heart. Why did you do this? Aren't you afraid that we would regret it after we promised? Shimotsuki Gyumaru asked. Although they lost the war, it was not easy for Marine to deal with them. If they dispersed to all corners of Wanokuni, causing chaos, or causing trouble for Marine on the sea. Lu Chen's move is tantamount to shooting himself in the foot. Marine's responsibility is to protect the weak on this sea. Whether they are independent islands or maritime countries, they are all protected by Marine. What's more, I have no interest in reaching out to the weak. Lu Chen said. I see, in your eyes, are we just weak? Shimotsuki Gyumaru felt bitter in his heart. As a famous samurai of Wanokuni, a powerful swordsman, he was called weak to his face. This is undoubtedly an unacceptable thing for him. Shimotsuki Yushimaru was silent for a while, then raised his head and said to Lu Chen. However, there are still a small number of warriors who are stubborn and remain absolutely loyal to the Kazuki family. Lu Chen looked at the other Wanokuni warriors and asked, how are you doing? We agree to your terms. It seems that Lu Chen was hit hard by a thunderbolt from the sky, and now he has little ability to resist. Behind the team were the members of the Beast's Pirates, roughly estimated to be several hundred people. Among them was a fat man who was tall, 6 to 7 meters tall and wearing glasses. However, he is now charred and black, sitting in a prison car looking half dead. I am afraid that only legendary pirates like Roger can be regarded as opponents of a similar level in his eyes. At this moment, the team that captured Kaido led by Kuzan and Perusalino also rushed back. I promise you, but I don't represent other people's will. We are originally the subjects of Wanokuni. Even the samurai grew up on the land of Wanokuni. This group of people only accounted for a very small number, and they were identified as extremists by Lu Chen and sent directly to the ship. Contributing to the construction of this country is not a betrayal of the original intention. Shimotsuki Gyumaru said with emotion, but he also knew that what Lu Chen said was true.
Anyway, there are plenty of places in Impel Down, and the beasts there can also improve the food.
At the front of the captive team is an unusually tall and burly pirate, none other than Kaido of the Beasts. The warriors hesitated for a long time and chose to agree to Lu Chen's conditions. Chapter 129. Isn't this a white-eyed wolf? Please customize. Advertisement, Tisk, what a surprise. Even the B******** D Quinn was caught.
Lu Chen whispered. Unfortunately, Jin was not seen.
After questioning, we learned that Jin probably took advantage of the chaos and escaped, but was not hacked to death by Lu Chen. He's really a lucky guy, so good luck to him. Lu Chen doesn't care either. Sooner or later he will imprison all these guys and impel down. Lord Lu Chen, there is a very special pirate here that you need to deal with personally. Perusalino carried a petite figure and walked towards Lu Chen. Looking at the little white-haired girl that Perusalino was carrying, she had a pair of devil-like horns on her head and a pair of weird big eyes looking around, and finally her eyes fell on Lu Chen. Lu Chen had a surprised expression on his face when he saw the little girl. He didn't expect that the little girl was also on the boat. Oh, isn't this a white-eyed wolf? Lu Chen said with a smile, his tone was quite teasing. Sir, do you know this kid? Perusalino was also very surprised. The little girl stared at Lu Chen curiously for a while with her big eyes, and then asked excitedly, Hey, Marine, did you defeat Kaido? Lu Chen nodded, pointed at the imprisoned Kaido and said, As you can see, he is now a prisoner of Marine. Are you really that powerful? The little girl asked.
Of course, at least a little better than everyone you have ever seen. Lu Chen said with a smile. Wow, can I follow you and join Marine? Hey kid, don't go too far.
Perusalino shook the little girl in his hand and said, Although Master Lu Chen's attitude towards this little girl is surprisingly gentle, she is still a pirate after all. As a pirate, it's a joke that he even wants to join Marine. If you agree, sir, I will give that D Kuzan a month's worth of foot washing water.
Perusalino muttered quietly, Okay, you can follow me from now on.
Lu Chen bent down and looked at the little girl, and said with a smile. Ha, Perusalino shook his hand and almost threw the little girl out. Not only him, but also the nearby Marines looked at Lu Chen with wide eyes, and then at the little pirate. The strange way of communication between the two people is puzzling. Master Lu Chen actually agreed to let this little pirate join Marine, which is even more puzzling.
Crocodile couldn't help but ask, Sir, what is the identity of this little girl?
Could it be that the captive captured by the Beast Pirates is a princess from some country? Lu Chen shook his head and said, I forgot to tell you that her name is Yamato and she is Kaido's daughter. Quiet advertisement. As soon as these words came out, the whole place fell into silence. Everyone stared in disbelief at the little girl with her hair parted in the middle and two devil horns. Perusalino even shook his hand and threw Yamato out. Fortunately, Chen reacted quickly and picked her up and put her on the ground. Kaido's daughter. Guillaume couldn't believe that this quirky and cute little girl in front of him was actually the daughter of Kaido of the Beasts. Is there something wrong with that guy's genes? Guillaume said in disbelief. It doesn't look like Kaido no matter what. It took a long time for everyone to digest this shocking news. However, the eyes of Sakazuki and others would become very strange when they occasionally looked at Katakori. First he was Big Moon's second son, and now he has adopted Kaido's daughter. Does Mr. Chen have some special collecting habit? Everyone couldn't help but think. Chen naturally didn't know these thoughts. After dealing with the prisoners, Chen ordered Marine to set off towards the flower capital. The Shimotsuki family samurai, headed by Shimotsuki Yoshimaru, were the vanguard of this operation. At the same time, when Marine marched towards the flower city, Rayleigh and others had already left the 9-mile coast by boat. However, as soon as they went out to sea, they saw a small boat on the sea sailing in the same direction as them. Uncle Rayleigh, what do you think that is? Suddenly, Shanks pointed to the boat on the sea and said. Is it an ambush by Marine? Everyone was shocked. In an instant, the remaining crew members of the pirate group were ready to fight to the death. But the next moment, when I saw the small sailboat that could only carry less than 10 people, there were only 2 people on it, one big and one small, and I was relieved. And, as the distance approaches, in his sight, he saw a female ninja holding a child. Momonosuke? Rayleigh looked at the 2 people on the boat and said with some surprise. Don't say it's him. Shanks, Buggy and others were all stunned. Please give me flowers. 0 at this time, everyone looked at Momonosuke with a hint of guilt on their faces. Why are you here? Advertisement after Shinobu and Momonosuke boarded their ship, Rayleigh couldn't help but ask. This is what the lady means. She asked me to take the young master away from Wanokuni and find a safe place. Shinobu said while crying. In fact, she originally wanted to find Tengayama Fei Tetsu. But later, after Kaido was suppressed, he changed his mind. Obviously, the enemy is stronger than ever. Wanokuni, I'm afraid it's over. Unexpectedly, the decision to change came from this unexpected encounter. Uncle Rayleigh, after Momonosuke saw Rayleigh and others, he burst into tears and asked Rayleigh and others to avenge his father. Hear the words. Rayleigh and the others could only smile bitterly at this, as they had just escaped from Marine. It can be said that each of them feels bleak about the future. And it's not safe to take Momonosuke with him, because they may encounter Marine encirclement and suppression next. But I know there is a safe place, at least Marine won't find it for the time being. After this big move, Marine will be relatively calm for some time to come. Rayleigh smiled lightly and said, Whitebeard Pirates. Compared to the remaining poor guys like them, the Whitebeard Pirates are obviously Momonosuke's best choice. Before Kazuki Oden boarded the Roger pirate ship, he stayed with the Whitebeard pirate group. Moreover, Rayleigh understands Roger's dream. Moreover, Momonosuke was born on Moby DK. The former young master Wanokuni, who was weak and helpless, became an orphan dependent on others. Apart from his foolish and loyal ministers, he had no other Kazuki family to accompany him. I vaguely know that this sea may become even more restless in the future. Where? To know. Xiao Ren asked hurriedly. Ooh, is it Uncle Bai? It is the best choice today. After thinking for a while, Lee smiled bitterly. Talent. The place where Brother Oden used to stay. Hearing the words Whitebeard, Momonosuke collapsed and burst into tears. So, send Momonosuke to the Whitebeard Pirates. Chapter 130. From now on, I have the final say on Wanokuni, please customize. Advertisement: the capital of flowers. When the warriors of the Shimotsuki family entered the city with Chen, the residents of the flower city were all frightened. Everyone looked at the Shimotsuki family samurai who led Marine in shock, unable to imagine that such a thing would happen. When the team arrived at the general's residence was already in chaos. What? The Shimotsuki family defected to Marine and have already entered the city. Kurozumi was extremely shocked, and then a sense of fear grew in his heart. What is Marine trying to do? Has the Kazuki family been defeated by Marine? He didn't have time to ask for details, so he immediately summoned the warriors in the general's palace. When Kurozumi led hundreds of Shogunate warriors out of the gate, he immediately saw Marine waiting outside. Damn Marine, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a complete relationship with Wanokuni? Before Kurozumi finished speaking, he saw Kaido being imprisoned in the prison car. He staggered and almost fell to his knees. Not only Kurozumi Orochi, but all the Shogunate samurai who followed him were frightened. Kaido, Wanokuna's invincible Lord Protector, was defeated by Marine. Kurozumi stared at Kaido closely, his eyes filled with incredible shock. Kaido. Lost? Marine not only defeated the Kazuki family, but also surrendered several daimyo family samurai. 1-0. Not only the Kazuki family, but now even the Beast's pirates are finished. In other words, the backer behind him is gone. These thoughts suddenly popped up in Kurozumi's head, and he quickly analyzed the situation in front of him. Ah, Marine Vice Admiral, I didn't expect you to be so brave. Not only did you eradicate the Kazuki family that harmed Wanokuni, but you also defeated the demon Kaido. The Kurozumi family welcomes Marine very much. If Marine needs anything, we will fully cooperate. Kurozumi looked at Chen respectfully and said.
Oh, Chen looked at Kurozumi and the corners of his mouth curved. Seeing that Kaido's building collapsed, he immediately wanted to climb onto Marine. He is indeed a born rebel. Now the Kurozumi family is the most powerful family in Wanokuni. If we can cooperate with Marine, it will be easy to rule the entire Wanokuni. At that time, both the Kurozumi family and you, Vice Admiral, will be able to obtain countless amounts of money. Sensing Lu Chen's faint smile, Kurozumi thought that he had made the right bet. Deep down, I couldn't help but feel relieved. But just then, Lu Chen shook his head and smiled lightly. This general's mansion should be demolished. The words fell. Sakazuki and others led the Marines to rush towards the samurai of the shogun's mansion. Shimotsuki Ushimaru also killed Kurozumi Orochi, and the warriors of the Shimotsuki family followed the leader and launched an attack on the Kurozumi family. You barbaric guys. Kurozumi didn't expect Lu Chen to be so decisive and launch an attack on the general's mansion without hesitation. Kill them for me. The Kurozumi snake roared, and a large number of warriors poured out of the shogun's palace. The residents watching around them screamed in panic and fled the streets near the general's mansion the moment the fighting broke out. Although the Flower City is the territory of Kurozumi Orochi, the number of samurai under him is not exaggerated as expected. Moreover, these warriors are generally scattered everywhere, and there are only a few hundred warriors stationed in the general's mansion. Facing the fierce offensive of Marine and Shimotsuki family samurai, the samurai under the black-haired snake did not hold out for long. Especially when little marine monsters such as Sakazuki intervened in the battle, these samurai, whose combat effectiveness was far inferior to that of the members of the Whitebeard Pirates, fell quickly like waves of wheat blown by the wind. In just 10 minutes, there were only a few dozen warriors left in the general's mansion. These people looked at Marine outside the mansion tremblingly, their eyes filled with fear. Advertisement. IQ scores of U.S. presidents. Uncovering Trump's real one. Inspire. They didn't expect that Marine's combat power was so powerful. Those young Marines were like monsters, possessing the power to kill samurai in an instant. Kurozumi, you shameless fellow. Shimotsuki Ushimaru jumped into the air, drew his sword and slashed at Kurozumi. Seeing the sword light approaching, Kurozumi showed no intention of dodge. When a buzzing sound echoed across the battlefield. At the critical moment, Shimotsuki Amagamaru's full-strength slash was actually blocked by a transparent barrier. Kurozumi, the big snake behind the barrier, was unscathed, and the sword energy did not hurt him at all. Ha ha ha, you guys can't possibly hurt me. Kurozumi laughed arrogantly. In an instant, countless sword energy slashed towards Kurozumi Orochi, and Shimotsuki family warriors rushed forward in an attempt to attack at close range. However, the transparent barrier that suddenly appeared in front of Kurozumi stopped the attack of Shimotsuki Ushimaru and everyone else. No matter how powerful their sword skills were, they could not break this seemingly weak barrier. What kind of weird trick is this? Shimotsuki Usumaru yelled in displeasure. Kurozumi usurped the position of general of the Kazuki family, making the Shimotsuki family always regarded as a powerful enemy. Shimotsuki Ushimaru had long wanted to kill this hateful D. Although he is no longer loyal to the Kazuki family, for the sake of Wanokuni's future, he will never allow Kurozumi to live. But right now, it seems they can't do anything about Kurozumi. Sorry, we can't seem to solve this nasty D snake. Huo Yushengji said to Lu Chen very sorry. Not only the sword energy, but also Marine's firearm shot was completely deflected when it hit the barrier. Lu Chen's eyes flickered when he saw the defensive barrier in front of Kurozumi. You trash of the Shimotsuki family, and you bastards Marine, there is absolutely no way you can hurt me. Kurozumi looked at everyone with disdain. Lu Chen walked towards Kurozumi with a calm expression, but with every step he took, his aura became stronger. When he was in front of Kurozumi, even though there was a barrier, Kurozumi's face still turned very ugly. Lu Chen stood stiffly in front of the big snake, the invisible momentum seemed to penetrate the barrier, like a mountain falling on the Kurozumi big snake. Kurozumi was cold and sweaty, but he still believed that the Marine Vice Admiral in front of him could not defeat this defense. If you have the ability, break this barrier. Marine, no one in this world can break my defenses. Kurozumi said through gritted teeth. Lu Chen looked past the Kurozumi snake and looked behind him at an old man who was over 70 years old and had thinning hair. Barrier fruit, Lu Chen said lightly. The next second, he punched the barrier in front of him. Click. The moment the fist fell, it withstood the Shimotsuki family's full attack, leaving Shimotsuki Ushimaru's defense barrier helpless and shattered. At the same time as the barrier was broken, the terrifying fist wind came instantly and impacted the Kurozumi snake. Puff. In Kurozumi Orochi's horrified eyes, a cloud of blood mist burst out from his body, and Kurozumi Orochi's huge body was destroyed in an instant. Seeing that Kurozumi's defense was not only broken, but also killed by Lu Chen with one punch, Ushimaru and others also felt a cold chill coming from the bottom of their hearts. If they were the ones opposing Lu Chen at this moment, the outcome would be the same. Kurozumi Orochi's death was faster than expected, and even the samurai of the Marine and Shimotsuki families did not react. After the death of Kurozumi, the remaining samurai of the shogunate lost all fighting spirit and were quickly captured by Marine. And members of the Kurozumi family did not escape bad luck. But their ending was even worse. They didn't even have a chance to become prisoners, and they turned into dead souls under the hands of Sakazuki and others. After cleaning up the garbage in the general's mansion, Marine's footsteps in Wanokuni are no longer blocked. The residents who came to watch from a distance were all surprised. In just a moment, the entire general's mansion completely lost its resistance. The rule of the Kurozumi family has come to an end. From now on, Wanokuni has the final say. Lu Chen glanced around. No one dared to look at him and lowered their heads. Even the warriors bowed their heads slightly. To this advertisement. Lu Chen nodded with satisfaction, then waved and led everyone into the general's mansion. Naval Headquarters. Marshal Marine's office. This guy Lu Chen, why has he been gone for so long and there's no news yet? Sengoku sat on the sofa next to him and rubbed his forehead helplessly. By his side, there are Garp, Crane Vice Admiral, and French Marine senior executives. When they learned that Marine had landed at Wanokuni, their hearts could not calm down, so they simply waited for the news from the Marshal. Although they know Lu Chen's power, they all trust Lu Chen's ability. But that's Wanokuni. It is a mysterious and powerful country, and it is said that there were even dragon-slaying warriors, which can be said to be full of mystery. Not to mention, there are also beasts pirates involved. And a steady stream of forces pouring in from all over the world. No doubt, Wanokuni now is the eye of the storm. Maybe there was something delayed. After all, Wanokuni's warriors are also very powerful, not to mention Kaido's home base is in Wanokuni. Crane Vice Admiral said, although it is said like this. Everyone still felt unconfident, and even though they trusted Lu Chen, no one took the initiative to contact him. But it's hard to let go of that hanging heart. Poor Lu poor. Suddenly, the phone bug on the desk remembered. The atmosphere in the office solidified in an instant. Crane Vice Admiral, Sengoku, Zephyr and Garp almost wanted to rush up and pick it up. But Marshal Kong stared at the few people who were about to make a move, then looked solemnly and picked up the phone bug. To know. 4.2. Apart from the Marine Admiral, the only people who can talk to him directly are the 5 elders in the Holy Land. So, call the office directly. There's probably no one around. Sure enough, a familiar voice came from the phone. Mr. Sora, I'm sorry that the mission to arrest Kazuki Oden failed. Quite a while, Kazuki Oden was seriously injured and escaped capture, but Roger and Kaido were preparing to escort him back. But just the next moment. Click. And this mission is just to go to Wanokuni to capture a pirate. The others looked in disbelief. No one expected that even if Lu Chen personally took action, the mission would fail one day. The teacup in Kong's hand suddenly shattered, and he stared at the phone bug in shock. Hiss. Lu Chen. Garp scratched his head and asked in surprise. Everyone took a deep breath, stared at each other, and couldn't believe their ears. No way, could it be that that guy from Kaido really caused trouble? Everyone in the conference room was shocked, but they reacted immediately. What? The mission failed. Lu Chen's voice continued to come. The sound in the conference room was instantly quiet, almost a pin drop could be heard. Sengoku's eyes widened and he said in disbelief. The words have fallen. Chapter 131. A world-shaking event. Please customize. Advertisement. In the quiet conference room, Lu Chen's voice echoed in everyone's ears. Roger was arrested. The first one to react was Garp. His eyes widened and he shouted with a voice that almost shattered his eardrums. That B*********** D was caught. As expected, it's Lu Chen Vice Admiral, as unexpected as ever. Crane Vice Admiral also said with emotion, with an expression of wonder on his face. And that guy Kaido of the Beasts also fell into the hands of Lu Chen Vice Admiral. I can't believe it. Originally, Lu Chen was asked to capture Kazuki Oden, but the target escaped and One Piece Roger and Kaido were both arrested. This is simply an unimaginable thing. Lien Kong didn't know what to say, so he could only sigh softly to express his complicated feelings. On the other end of the phone, Lu Chen heard Kong sighing and thought he was feeling sorry for Kazuki Oden's escape. The wife of Kazuki Oden, Amazuki Toki is demon fruit power and has the power to manipulate time. I infer that Kazuki Oden has been sent to the future world by her using the fruit power. Lu Chen explained. Lu Chen's news shocked everyone, with incredible expressions on their faces. 27-time fruit. It sounds incredible. Zephyr touched his chin and said. Kong coughed slightly, managed to calm his turbulent mind, and said to the phone bug, Lu Chen Vice Admiral, I have a general understanding of the news you reported. He pondered for a while and continued. In that case, you will be responsible for continuing to garrison Wanokuni. I will send someone to take over later. It will be hard on you this time. Haha, Mr. Kong is too polite. After hanging up the phone, the atmosphere in the conference room was still a little weird. Kong glanced at everyone present, and then said, I believe everyone is aware of the current situation. Although Roger's arrest is unbelievable, it is indeed good news. Garp, Sengoku, you two set out immediately and go to Wanokuni to escort Garp and Kaido back. Kong gave the order. Yes, Marshal Sama. Sengoku looked serious. No one had any objections. Among the people present, Sengoku and Garp were the most powerful Marines. Advertisement. As for Zephyr, he also has the name of Black Arm, but he trains Marines at the headquarters all year round. He is generally not sent to this kind of sea mission. So Sengoku and Garp are undoubtedly the most suitable candidates. After arranging everything, Kong dismissed the meeting and left the conference room in a hurry. The news brought by Lu Chen was too important, and he must report this matter to the world government in person immediately. Lu Chen put away the phone bug and said to himself, as expected, let me continue to stay in Wanokuni to guard. He naturally knew the meaning of Kong's order. On the surface, Wanokuni has no connection with any country on the sea, even the celestial dragons, and has always maintained a closed-door policy. But seastone products from all over the world are basically from Wanokuni. In particular, there are huge seastone resources here, which involve a wide range of interests. They are extremely valuable resources for both marine and celestial dragons. Seastone is an important strategic resource for marine, but warship manufacturing requires a huge amount of seastone every year. This does not include the construction of special prisons for holding ability users, seastone weapons and other equipment. The famous Impel Down is the best example. Moreover, Wanokuni's craftsmen have unique skills that are not found in other countries and marines, and are unique in the seastone manufacturing process. Holy place Mariajoy. Kong came here from naval headquarters and met with the five elders urgently. In the World Government Hall, the five elders are sitting together, and below is Kong who came to report the situation. Marshal Kong, is there anything important coming here this time? Five elders, wearing a blue suit and a long beard, asked. Kong usually doesn't come to Mariajoy unless there is something urgent and important. Well, there is indeed something very important that I need to report to you. Kong thought about it for a while and chose to get straight to the point. One Piece Roger has been arrested. Huh, the long-bearded five elders in dark blue suits exclaimed in surprise, as if they didn't believe their ears. What? The other four people also looked shocked and looked at Kong with wide eyes. Even the five elders, who have high prestige among the celestial dragons and represent the highest authority in the world government, were deeply shocked by the news. The bald five elders almost pulled off his mustache and shouted in disbelief, Marshal Kong, don't make such a joke. Hey, these old guys who usually look calm, it's really rare for you to have such a moment of losing your composure. Compared to what you all remember about Marine's plan to conquer Wanokuni, because of your instructions, the person responsible for carrying out the task this time is Chen Vice Admiral. Kong said, while looking at the expressions of the five elders. Advertisement. What does this have to do with Roger? After a while, the five elders in robes asked. Ah, here's the thing. The original target of this operation was Kazuki Oden. But Roger appeared at a critical moment and assisted Kazuki Oden. Kong carefully reported what happened to Wanokuni to the five elders. In short, not only Pirate King Roger, but also Kaido could not escape and is now being imprisoned by Chen Vice Admiral. When they heard that Kaido had also been defeated by Chen, and that both Pirate King Roger and Kaido had become prisoners of war, the five elders were all shocked and speechless. After a long time, five elders, who had always been steady in blue suits, said, this is big news, and the whole world should know about it. This piece of news was extremely impassioned and described the Wanokuni War in detail, using 80% of the newspaper's page space to describe the war. The other four people also immediately realized that this was a golden opportunity to eliminate Roger's influence and suppress the pirates' momentum. Half a day later, five elders is no less shocking than Kong. Along with that, there's Kaido of the Beasts. A strange-looking and tall pirate was sitting on the deck, holding a newspaper and reading it carefully. Jean went to Wanokuni to arrest Kazuki Oden, but instead captured the Pirate King. 993. Roger was actually arrested by Marine, he said with wide eyes, trembling with disbelief in his frightened eyes. As soon as this report came out, in just 3 days, the entire sea was completely boiling. If you observe carefully, you will find that the pirate's hand holding the newspaper is constantly shaking. It has been revealed in the newspapers that not only Roger, the Pirate King, but also Kaido of the Beasts were captured by Marine. The Pirate King has been arrested. Don't be kidding, that's Roger, the Pirate King of this sea. A news story about the arrest of Roger the Pirate King and the imprisonment of Kaido of the Beasts as Marine prisoners appeared on the front page of the News of the World. Speaking of which, you believe such stupid rumors. Where did you get the news? He even thought of using this shocking news to convey to the outside world the supreme authority of world government as a ruler. At the same time, pirate ships that are unwilling to give up the secret of the great treasure are still staying here in the area outside Wanokuni. Never imagined. Chapter 132. Second template. Kyoko Suigetsu. Please customize. Advertisement. Master Moria, Pirate King Roger has been arrested. A zombie crew member hurriedly ran from the deck. If it weren't for the ship's special structure to prevent sunlight, these crew members would not even dare to leave the cabin during the day. I already know. Moria punched the zombie crewman on the head and shouted angrily. The clues about the great secret treasure attracted countless pirates to flock here, and powerful pirates like Moria were no exception. But when he came here, the Julie area was already in chaos. The pirates were repelled by the Marine led by Chen, and the battle with Kazuki Oden and others was in full swing. It is precisely because of this that Moria was lucky enough to escape, otherwise she might not have been able to survive Marine's attack. Captain, then the zombie crew member asked cautiously. Did you provoke that pervert Marine? Go back to the island. Moria roared angrily. Not only Moria, but also the surrounding pirates who were waiting for an opportunity, received the news of Roger's arrest and immediately chose to retreat. Are you kidding me? Pirate King Roger was defeated by Marine. How can they have the courage to fight against Marine? For a time, no pirate ship could be seen on the sea where pirates originally gathered. The news of Roger's arrest spread all over the world, and its impact was not limited to driving back the pirates who were trying to seize clues to the great secret treasure. The capital of a certain kingdom in East Blue. A young man wearing a cloak was walking on the street. He had strange square tattoos on his face, which looked very weird. This is really shocking news to the world. Even though I have read the contents of the newspaper more than once, I still can't calm down the shock in my heart. The spiritual leader of pirates, the man who conquered the sea and represented freedom and strength, was defeated by Marine Vice Admiral Monkey D. Chen, has the same surname as the leader. Betty behind him whispered. I remember this man, said the dark voice of Crow Karas. However, there was deep fear in his gloomy eyes, as if some memories he didn't want to remember were emerging. In addition, upon hearing the news of the arrest of Pirate King Roger, people all over the world cheered and celebrated. Many small towns are decorated with lights and banners to celebrate. To celebrate the arrest of Roger the Pirate King, our store has a limited time discount. To thank Marine for punishing the evil pirates, all food in the restaurant is free for Marine today. Mom, I want to join Marine and become as powerful as Chen Vice Admiral. In the streets and alleys, you can see residents who are sincerely happy because the Pirate King was arrested at any time. Advertisement. At the same time, the atmosphere in the Whitebeard Pirates was quite subtle. All the captains looked at the tall figure sitting on the deck and remained silent. Dad, it might be Marine's conspiracy. In the end, it was Margao who broke the silence. Roger can't be defeated by a Marine, at least not by Marine Vice Admiral. What are these Marines doing? Foil Beasta said exaggeratedly. Clearly, he remains highly skeptical of the newspaper developed by world government. The same goes for other captains. No one believed that Roger would lose to a Marine, especially to a Marine Vice Admiral. Ah, you little brats, don't underestimate the Marine Vice Admiral. Whitebeard, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly picked up the wine bottle and took a sip, and said. If there is any Marine in the world who can defeat Roger, this is the only one. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Whitebeard burst into laughter, but there was an unconcealable shock and unwillingness in his laughter. After receiving the garrison order from Kong, Chen transformed the general's mansion in the flower capital into a Marine branch. At this time, Chen was sitting in his office, staring at the system interface excitedly. After a battle with the Roger Pirates, Wanokuni and Kaido of the Beasts, his points soared by 3 million, and he finally met the conditions for signing into the system. Open black lens bracket. Does host consume points to sign in? Close black lens bracket. Yes, Chen agreed without hesitation. As the system interface flashed, Chen's sign-in was completed. Congratulations to host, you got a new template, Aizen Sosuke. As soon as he finished speaking, the system template changed. Host. Chen. Fruit. Thunder Fruit Awakening 89%. Hockey. 3 colors perfect. Physical skills. Marine 6 styles 93%, Gentle Fist 78, 8 Inner Gates 88%. Kendo. The throne of the world's best kendo. Ninjutsu. Flying Thunder God Technique. Template 1. Senju Hashirama all abilities unlocked. Template 2. Aizen Sosuke 50%. Justice. 0 points. Advertisement. Huh, it's actually Aizen. Chen's eyes lit up, and information about Aizen Sosuke's mission came to his mind involuntarily. The final boss in the Shinigami world, a character whose power is so great that it transcends the realm of Shinigami thanks to the fusion of Hogyoku. He once served as the captain of the 13th Division and also worked part-time as a special calligraphy teacher at the Spiritual Arts Academy. The latter can be ignored. Whether it's Zanpakuto's power or Kido's talent, Aizen is definitely the strongest being in the Shinigami world. If it weren't for the protagonist Kurosaki Ichigo's halo body protection, which made the final development of the plot so outrageous, Aizen should be the biggest winner. Chen couldn't help but sigh. As Aizen's second template unfolded, a semi-illusory samurai sword appeared in front of Chen. Its handle was light green and exuded a strange aura, as if the soul was about to be devoured the moment it was seen. Zanpakuto, Kyoka Suigetsu. Congratulations to host, for getting Zanpakuto, Kyoka Suigetsu. Close black lens bracket. Kyoka Suigetsu Shikai. Anyone who looks directly at Zanpakuto Shikai will be permanently affected by the Kyoka Suigetsu effect hypnosis. Close black lens bracket. After hearing the systematic explanation, Chen finally confirmed that this was Zanpakuto Kyoka Suigetsu belonging to Aizen, and it was the same as the ability in the original work. I wonder if it has the same terrifying effect in the pirate world. Chen said to himself. Although the system states that people who look directly at the Shikai process will be permanently hypnosis, he is not sure of the specific effect. For example, would a strong man like Kong, or Whitebeard, be permanently hypnosis ed after gazing at Zanpakuto Shikai? If that were the case, Kyoka Suigetsu's power would be too terrifying. However, there is currently no suitable opponent to test the effect of Zanpakuto. Chen can only look for opportunities to test the power of Kyoka Suigetsu. As expected of the system, even the rewards for signing in are very suitable for this country and have anti-bone characteristics. After putting away Zanpakuto, Chen laughed to himself. However, even so, it cannot be denied that Aizen is also one of the most charming villains. Half a month later, 2 warships passed through New World and entered Wanokuni. Ah, this is Wanokuni, the country of samurai. Garp got off the boat and looked at the surrounding situation carefully. It doesn't look weird, does it? Sengoku glanced at Garp and said, the mission is urgent, let's go see our old friends. I can't wait. Chapter 133, Public Execution of the Pirate King. Please customize. Advertisement. Flower City, General Mansion Dungeon. Roger, I really can't bear to see you again, not at this time. Sengoku said looking at the man sitting in the cell. Ah, it's Sengoku, and this B*********** D Garp is here too. Roger looked up at the 2 Marines outside and said calmly. Hey, your attitude is not what a prisoner should have, Sengoku said unhappily. Ha ha ha, I can't do anything like crying in front of you. Even in prison, the Pirate King didn't seem worried about his condition at all. D. You're lucky that I didn't catch you with my own hands. Garp held the railing and growled. For Garp, Roger can be called a lifelong enemy. This old enemy-like opponent also made Garp regard capturing Roger as the biggest goal in his life. But he never expected that Roger would fall into the hands of his brother, and in such an unexpected situation. You don't have a chance. That sounds like happy news. Ha ha ha. Roger laughed unbridled. Although he had long known that Roger was not an ordinary pirate, Sengoku still felt uncomfortable with his unceremonious and arrogant attitude towards Marine Admiral in prison. This is the end of your reminiscence. I have said before that even if this man faces death, he will not have any fear or regret. Lu Chen walked from the dark prison corridor. Seeing Lu Chen appear, Roger's smile froze, but he still showed an indifferent expression. But in his heart, there was still an unspeakable fear gradually emerging. The guy in front of him is completely different from Garp Sengoku. He is a lawless madman. At least Garp and Zongguo will still care about Marine's image and rules. But from the experience of dealing with Lu Chen many times, Roger knew that this Marine Vice Admiral was a guy who could completely ignore Marine rules. Lu Chen glanced at Roger lightly and said, Kaido is in another cell. Do you want to go take a look? No need, we will see you sooner or later. Sengoku said. Kaido is a reckless man who is a fighting maniac, and Sengoku has no interest in that kind of guy. In comparison, Roger was the big pirate that concerned him the most. That's not bad, Lu Chen said. Advertisement. In addition to Sengoku Garp, the Marines escorted this time also included thousands of elite Marines. Such a lineup is enough to escort 2 prisoners, even to attack the famous big pirate. It can be seen that the world government attaches great importance to this mission and must ensure that the delivery of the mission is foolproof. The process of handing over prisoners is not troublesome. It only requires both parties to sign the handover documents, and then leave the rest to Marine who comes. In addition to the Marine elite brought by the 2 admirals of Garp, Kizaru and Kuzan will also accompany them. One is for safety reasons. After all, in addition to the captain, the Roger Pirates also have some very troublesome members of Rayleigh who are on the run. Secondly, just to garrison Wanokuni does not require too many elite Marines. In fact, Lu Chen alone is enough. A new generation of monsters like these 2 who have grown up in Marine will naturally return to their headquarters and take on more important tasks. As for Katakori, Gion and others, Lu Chen deliberately left a few assistants in order to save himself from trouble. Brother Lu Chen, thank you for your hard work this time. On the coast, Sengoku, who was about to leave, expressed condolences to Lu Chen. After understanding, Sengoku realized that the situation Marine faced in this battle was much worse than imagined. The Wanokuni warriors and the Roger Pirates are enough to destroy any country, and a madman like Kaido is killed halfway. If it weren't for Lu Chen, I'm afraid this mission would have cost many elite Marines. Marine's image will also be damaged. It is Marine's duty to catch pirates. Lu Chen responded with a slight smile. Looking at Roger and Kaido who were being escorted to the warship, Lu Chen reminded, be careful of the Roger Pirates, those guys are not fuel efficient. Ha, I'm really looking forward to those bastards coming to me. Garp said with a heartless laugh. But he has the confidence to say this. After all, except for Whitebeard and Big Moon, no other pirates in the world dare to make any bad ideas against Garp. With the departure of Garp Sengoku and others, the capture mission of Wanokuni can be said to have been successfully completed. Next, we only need to stay in Wanokuni and ensure that everything in Wanokuni is under the control of the world government. Naturally, Lu Chen has no interest in this kind of thing involving the ruling party. So, he simply left everything to Gion and others to handle, and he became an idle worker with peace of mind. Although in terms of combat strength, Gion is the weaker one among the new generation of marine generals, but it does not mean that he is poor in other aspects. Advertisement. On the contrary, in terms of handling affairs, Gion has abilities that even Katakori and others can't match. Not only did he manage the security of Wanokuni, which was in urgent need of restoring order after the war, he also put forward various suggestions for reforms and job changes. Of course, after Lu Chen heard these suggestions, he delegated everything to Gion. Sakazuki and others assisted Gion in handling government affairs. To put it nicely, it is to assist with office work. To put it more bluntly, it is the military protection around Gion. If the reform is agreed, everyone shakes hands and makes peace and works together to transform the country. If you don't agree, then, negotiation experts, like Sakazuki and Katakori will come to your door. However, Marines' reform policies tend to improve civilian life, and most Wanokuni residents agree with them. Nobles like the Shimotsuki family would naturally have no objections after seeing Lu Chen's terrifying strength. The part that stubbornly resisted was Wanokuni's former daimyo nobles. After all, Marines' policies have a great impact on the interests of these nobles. However, after Sakazuki and others demolished 4 or 5 daimyo mansions in succession, those arrogant nobles also honestly accepted Marines' reform proposal. These noble names really bully the weak and fear the strong. Gion sat at the desk in the conference room, looking through the documents in front of him boredly. This is the Reform Policy Agreement, signed jointly by the Wanokuni nobles. Thanks to Sakazuki, as a negotiator, he actually set fire to someone's mansion. Katakori grinned. Obviously, he was very dissatisfied with Sakazuki's rough behavior. Why are you so embarrassed to talk about others? Gion glared at Katakori and scolded. UB asterisk 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 D almost demolished the entire rabbit bowl area. Seeing Gion's furious look, Crocodile hid in a corner. On the other hand, after Garp Sengoku escorted One Piece Roger away, he returned to the Marine headquarters smoothly. Following the news of Roger's arrest, world government once again announced a big news that shocked the world. Marine will conduct a public execution of Roger, and the place of execution will be in Roger's hometown, Logue Town. As soon as the news came out, the world was in an uproar. The execution time will be announced separately. Obviously, in order to eliminate the influence of One Piece, the world government is also making careful preparations. Chapter 134. The man who once again refused Admiral's appointment, please customize. Advertisement. The news that Roger was about to be publicly executed once again caused an uproar. Ah, hey, did you hear that? Pirate King Roger is going to be publicly executed. On a certain island, Torbal stared at the family officials in shock. It's unbelievable. It turns out that Marine's rumors are true. They really caught Roger, Corazon said with a trembling voice as he broke into cold sweat. Goval and Pika were also extremely shocked and couldn't believe the news. Cha-cha. This is really good news. Doflamingo sat on the conference throne and let out a strange laugh. No one saw it, but the eyes under the sunglasses showed an unconcealable shock. New World, Moby DK. Is this a conspiracy? This is definitely a conspiracy. This is definitely a conspiracy. Sachi's eyes widened and his mouth opened to an exaggerated degree. A month ago, news of Roger's arrest shocked the world. The Whitebeard Pirates were also greatly shocked by this, but many people were still skeptical until they witnessed it with their own eyes. After all, that is Roger, the Pirate King, a legendary pirate who was even troublesome to draw. The world government is clearly demonstrating. Is this a threat? It must be a threat. What does Marine want to do? Is he going to start a decisive battle between pirates and Marine? The captains of the Whitebeard Pirates were talking a lot, but their attitudes were very consistent. They believed that Marine deliberately provoked an all-out war with the pirates. Roger is one of the most powerful pirates, a supreme legend among pirates. For such a hero, the world government announced with great fanfare that Roger would be publicly executed. Ah. Quiet. Whitebeard suddenly shouted loudly and glanced at his sons with burning eyes. He wanted to say something to calm everyone's anger, but the cold sweat on his forehead had already betrayed him. As a legendary pirate who knows Marine extremely well, he knows Marine's motives even more clearly. Once Roger is publicly executed, it will definitely deal a heavy blow to pirates around the world. Advertisement. More importantly, the world government wants to use this method to declare one thing: Marine has the ability to eliminate pirates. Not ordinary pirates, but any pirate group including legendary pirates. The news that Roger was going to be publicly executed spread quickly like a virus. The first reaction of all the pirates was shock, followed by doubts about Marine's ability and the authenticity of the world government news. But after careful investigation, more and more evidence points to the fact that this matter is certain. The most direct evidence is undoubtedly the Marine warship escorted by two Marine admirals, Garp Sengoku, and the oral accounts of the pirates who escaped from Wanokuni. Of course, for the pirates, this was a piece of terrible news that was extremely shocking and unbelievable. However, for civilians around the world, this is undoubtedly more exciting news after the capture of the Pirate King. Many civilians and islands who had been persecuted by pirates cheered and celebrated, looking forward to the execution moment. It's hard to imagine how powerful Uncle Lu Chen is now. Long sighed once again as he looked at the news in the newspaper. Although this was not the first time that he had such a question, every time this thought came up, he felt as if he was peering into the secret of the endless sea. And those who learn about this problem will obviously end up miserable. Just like the one described in the news, the Pirate King is about to be publicly executed in front of people all over the world. This is really unbelievable news. That's Roger, the Pirate King. He was publicly executed. Are those Marines desperate for their lives? A young man wearing glasses and carrying a pair of strange equipment said in a weird voice. It was Lindbergh, one of the commanders of the Revolutionary Army. The world government does this kind of thing because it wants to establish its supreme prestige. The crow's gloomy voice reached everyone's ears. However, this does prove the strength of Marine. Marine is a minion of the world government. The stronger it is, the worse it is for us. Tina still maintained her rather bold appearance and said with a serious expression. Anyway, this is good news. Long's face was filled with a smile, but his fighting spirit was getting higher and higher. The fire of revolution has been sown, and the fate of this country is over. Which country should we go to next? He crossed his hands and thought seriously. At the same time, the world government also rewarded all the Marines who participated in the mission because of this incident. Please give me flowers. Advertisement. In particular, the four outstanding Marine players, Kizaru, Kuzan, Sakazuki and Katakori, were naturally promoted to notes. Kuzan and Kizaru were on standby at the headquarters, so they accepted their promotions as soon as possible. For a time, the two became the focus of attention at the Marine headquarters, and many old-school Marine vice admirals were very warm and friendly towards them. As for Sakazuki, who was far away in Wanokuni, the medal was awarded remotely. Although the news has been notified in advance, the formal awarding ceremony still needs to be carried out after returning to the headquarters. In addition, Gion and Crocodile were also promoted respectively. Gion was promoted to lieutenant colonel, and Crocodile was promoted to the rank of colonel. Like Sakazuki, the appointment ceremony of the two people will have to wait for a while. As for Lu Chen, as the commander-in-chief of this mission, he was also the main force who personally captured Roger Kaido. The world government once again rewarded him with promotion to admiral. However, his attitude also annoyed Kong. What did you say? UB******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** at the phone bug. Ah, Mr. Kong, please take care of your health. Don't get angry casually when you are older. Lu Chen's slow voice came from the phone bug. Kong could almost imagine this guy sitting in a chair with his legs on the edge of his desk, talking to himself with a leisurely expression. I'm so angry. Think about it, is this the first time you have refused to be promoted to the admiral position? Kong asked. Oh, then you should understand my attitude. The position of admiral is not suitable for me. I don't want to sit in the headquarters every day and be looked at with strange eyes like a monkey in the zoo when I go out. Lu Chen said. At least temporarily, I don't want to lose my freedom because of promotion. After hanging up the phone, Kong sighed helplessly. This guy Lu Chen is indeed the best and most powerful Marine ever. But his thoughts, like his terrifying strength, are hard to figure out. Well, I have to find a way to get him to agree. Kong said to himself. Down. Chapter 135. Something is wrong with Mr. Kong. Please customize. Advertisement. Wanokuni has gradually returned to calm under Marine's series of reform policies. Now that the entire Wanokuni is guarded by Marines, and with the samurai surrendering to serve, there will be almost no major disturbances. However, Lu Chen still sent Sakazuki and others to clean up Wanokuni from top to bottom. Only after the last hidden remnant forces are cleared away can the hidden dangers be completely eliminated. Master Lu Chen, is it really okay for you to leave here? Gion looked at the warship, Kaido, parked in the harbor. Well, with Katakori and a few people stationed there, it's enough. Lu Chen said, if you can't even control this situation, it can only be said that these little guys haven't been tempered enough. Let's go, let's take you to see the outside world. Lu Chen held Yamato in his left hand and Hiyori in his right hand. The two little girls followed Lu Chen obediently and followed him on the warship. Except for the closest Katakori people, Lu Chen's departure was not informed to anyone else. Including Marine, Shimotsuki Ushimaru and others did not know the news of Lu Chen leaving Wanokuni. As long as no one jumps out to cause any big incident against humanity, I believe everyone will think that Lu Chen is still in charge of the Marine branch. With his name hanging over Wanokuni's head, no one would stir up trouble. Without any exaggeration, Lu Chen's current position at Wanokuni, just like the Supreme Emperor, has unimaginable prestige. Just one word can decide life or death. The ruling influence of the Kazuki family, through Orochi and Kaido, and now Marine's reforms, has been completely eliminated. Half a month later, Lu Chen and his team, who were tired of their travels, returned to the port of Marine headquarters. Ah, this familiar smell. Lu Chen closed his eyes slightly, took a breath of the air of naval headquarters and said sincerely. The two little girls stood timidly behind Lu Chen, looking at the surrounding scenery curiously. Is this the legendary naval headquarters? Yamato was bolder and looked at the tall building in front of him with bright eyes. It's just a port, and it's much more impressive than Ghost Island. Lu Chen did not leave his post without authorization this time, but received an order from the headquarters to return to duty. Along the way, Marine who saw Lu Chen took the initiative to salute and greet him. Advertisement. Many Marines are staring at Lu Chen feverishly. Every time this legendary Marine goes to sea, he can cause some earth-shattering events. This time, the world's most powerful legendary pirate, Roger, was arrested and imprisoned. This undoubtedly brings extremely exciting good news to Marines all over the world. The two young girls, Yamato and Hiyori, also saw so many Marines for the first time, and had a deeper understanding of Lu Chen's status in the Marines. After entering the headquarters building, Lu Chen and his team headed towards the highest floor. Pushing open the door of the Marshal's office, Lu Chen saw the Marshal sitting behind the desk at a glance. Lu Chen, welcome back. Kong smiled. Sit down. He pointed to the sofa opposite. Kong picked up the teacup and glanced at the three people from Gion behind him unintentionally. Huh, these two little girls are. He looked at Yamato and the two little girls. One of them was okay, the little girl was cute, and she hid behind Lu Chen timidly. But another little girl with long white hair and a pair of devil horns on her head was looking at herself with excited and curious eyes. He doesn't look afraid of life at all. Oh, this is Kaido's daughter. Lu Chen pointed at Yamato and said. Puff. Kong squirted out a mouthful of tea, spilling the tea all over the table, and looked at Yamato in astonishment. What did you say? Kaido's daughter? Kong asked in surprise. He stared at Yamato for a long time, but he couldn't see anything similar to Kaido in his body. A father and daughter who don't have much affection. Lu Chen explained. Oh, that's it. Kong wiped off the tea on the table and picked up the teacup. Lu Chen seemed to have guessed what he was going to ask and continued. This is Hiyori, her last name is Kazuki. This time, even the documents on the table were not spared. Hey, Lu Chen Vice Admiral, don't you have some kind of hobby? Kong was silent for 2 seconds and asked with a serious face. The moment he blurted it out, he replaced the word quirk with hobby. Don't look at me like that, it's not what you think. Although Yamato is Kaido's daughter, she is different from other pirates. This child has a very strong sense of justice and is obsessed with Marine's justice. You should know about Rehei's situation, so I don't need to go into details. Chen said. Advertisement. Hearing this, Kong looked at the two little girls with a calm face and said with a smile, I didn't expect that Kaido's daughter turned out to be a little girl with a righteous heart. I have a general understanding of the affairs of the Kazuki family. Naturally, the reason why I want you to come back this time is to report back on your duties. This is a necessary procedure, you know. Simply overshadowing the life experience of the two little girls, Kong had the right to acquiesce in Chen's behavior. They are just two little girls. Although their status is a bit special, with Chen by their side, the Marine headquarters will not persecute the two children. After Guillaume briefly reported on his work, he took Yamato and the two of them out of the Marshal's office. Only Chen and Kong were left in the office, and they fell into silence for a while. Let me report on my work first. Chen took the initiative to speak. He narrated to Kong the process of entering and governing the country, as well as the situation he faced. Including the actions of various pirates, Roger's arrival to support, the resistance of the Wanokuni samurai, and finally Kaido joining the battle. Well, that's the thing. The Roger pirates are indeed in a tricky situation. As for Kaido, that idiot is a surprise. I didn't expect that he would dare to appear in front of me. Chen said at the end of the report. Kong listened silently, and then looked at Huang Lu with strange eyes. Judging from his tone, it didn't sound like he was in trouble at all. What makes the Roger pirates more difficult? Is that idiot Kaido an unexpected surprise? You have it right, but such an understatement will make this Marshal feel very embarrassed. Marine used an unknown amount of power, and Garp hunted down the Pirate King for most of his life, who is a rather troublesome figure in your eyes. Na Gujong didn't know how to describe the guy in front of him. If you say he is frivolous, this is the monster who single-handedly almost destroyed the One Piece Gang 4.3. But facing the most powerful pirate group in the world, this guy looked like he was sorry for not destroying them. I know about this, Kong said. Then, with a friendly smile on his face, he said, during your absence, everyone in the family has missed you very much. You are now a popular hero in Marine. Even Marine admirals like Garp and Sengoku are probably not as famous as you. Of course, in terms of reputation among Marines, I, the Marshal, may have to step aside. Seeing his expression, Chen felt bad, something was wrong with Marshal Kong. However, he had just declined promotion to admiral. This shouldn't be the topic anymore. So, is it Marshal? After all, judging by time, not long after Roger was executed, Mr. Black Panther, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, should have retired.